Introducing TrueDisc, an innovative new scorekeeping app for your smartphone. TrueDisc ensures that you get the most accurate data possible at all times. Not sure if you walked a little bit too far when you measured your last throw? TrueDisc stamps every misrepresented throw with our trademarked Internet Distance badge before you can share it to social media. Buy TrueDisc in the App Store or Google Play for just 4 easy payments of $19.99 plus shipping and handling. But wait, there's more! Call in the next 20 minutes and upgrade to TrueDisc Pro for free. TrueDisc Pro allows you to get honest advice from the AI Pro of your choice.
Hey Germ, think I can make it over the pond?
Yeah, sure, Simon. Go for it.
I'm Andrew.
You know what? Go for it, but go for it with a Big Germ Thunderbird. That way you can buy another one after you throw us in the water.
Paige, should I throw a putter or a mid-range here?
So what is going to give me the most confidence to hit the gap? Will it be the soft beat of a putter? Will it be the sharper edge of a mid-range? Everyone was cheering Mugs at Smugs. Man, it was so awesome. One of the best moments of my life.
Paige, I'm gonna go ahead and throw.
Hey Eric, should I throw a felon here?
Felons are awesome!
Well, yeah, but I mean, is it the right disc for the shot?
Felons are awesome!
All right! Hannah, what did I get there?
You got a 7, Dave.
Put me down for a 5.
I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.
Go to udisc.com and use the code TrueDisc to get the real UDisc Pro free for 1 month.
I practice a lot. It's a vice. An escape from stress, from work. It's my chance to just get away during the week. It's like meeting up with an old friend, you know? I'll never get tired of that sound.
It's only mid-August. There's still plenty of the season left to track down signature wins and create memories, and yet this week ushers in an air of finality. It's the culmination of countless hours on the practice basket and endless miles on the road. A chance to put behind a year of frustrations and what could have beens. And for 2 players, a chance to wake up from a dream by turning it into reality. We're here in Illinois for the PDGA Professional Disc Golf World Championships, where Peoria is the playground for those who want to make history. Heading the pack of contenders leading into this 5-round marathon are none other than 2 players seeking world title number 5, Paige Pierce and Paul McBeth. Pierce has been unstoppable since June, winning her last 8 starts. It isn't just recent success driving Pierce's run this week. She came up short last year in Vermont, and now she's more determined than ever to come out on top.
There's been a lot of different feelings as, 360-ish days have gone by, and, started out obviously like heartbreak and just kind of like trying to be critical of what happened, what went wrong, or just kind of like steps that I could take to make sure that I don't have a disappointment like that again. And
while it's only been a year since Pierce has taken home a title, it's been 3 for McBeth, who hasn't stood atop the podium since 2015 in Pittsburgh. But the highest-rated player in the sport is the odds-on favorite, especially after a stunning comeback win at last month's European Open.
I just want to win this week. I think it's a great fitting tournament for me. The courses fit very well. I think Northwood is playing extremely well to my game. It's funny, I think a lot of the Worlds that I have won have been on wooded-type courses.
With all the focus on the sport's 2 most dominant figures, it means the reigning champions rate as relative underdogs. Greg Barsby wouldn't have it any other way.
It's nothing new to me being an underdog. That's just part of the gig. But like, somebody not talking about me doesn't change anything. I'm gonna go out here and do what I do.
And for Paige Bierkes, it's an opportunity to prove to many, including herself, that she truly belongs among the sport's elite women's athletes.
I mean, I'd love to defend the title, and one thing that I think puts the most pressure is that I could be 2 in a row, right? And Paige and Kat, you know, people I look up to the most and, you know, the best in our sport, haven't won back-to-back ever. So I do have this really cool opportunities.
The venue this week here in Peoria features 2 known commodities. The OB-laden Eureka Lake and picturesque Sunset Hills headline the annual Ledgestone Insurance Open, which Pierce and Macbeth both won in June. That leaves the newly redesigned Northwood Park as the wild card. A 9,299-foot wooded terror for the MPO field, and a similarly scary 7,677 for the women. Northwood's narrow fairways and fearsome par 5s help it serve as a useful foil to Worlds' 2 more open courses.
It's a good mixture of they got some open holes, low ceilings, and they got the really long wooded holes. Yeah, I think I've been talking about it a lot because it's actually challenging. I don't feel like a lot of the courses we play nowadays are.
Hello everyone and welcome to Under Par 1025 rated, and you can just see the raw power on these drives. She was clean until hole 18, and guess what? She stayed that way as she absolutely humiliates this upshot en route to the drop-in birdie. Eveliina leads the pack by 6 and looks forward to a more open Sunset Hills.
I like that course, it's more open and there I can throw far, and yeah, I like that.
Next up in the race for a world title, one of the early contenders here, Catrina Allen, has been battling for W's all year, and hole 1, she was here to play. She would get off to a pretty hot start, but missing short putts here on hole 4, and again, unfortunately, on hole 5. She would right the ship by hole 7 though, knocking in the nice birdie putt there. And on hole 8 was an opportunity to show off why she has the best roller game in the FPO division. Perfectly placed en route for the routine upshot on the par 4 603-foot hole. Jumping now to hole 14, she would throw this beautiful turnover. Unfortunate kick, but who cares about the funky lie? She knocks it in anyways. Hole 17 would be her demise though. She gets off the tee into the bushes, and it wasn't any better from there. Unfortunately takes the double bogey, would stop all momentum and slide her back to that 1 under par that she would finish, setting herself up for a lead card appearance. Newcomer to the world stage, Valerie Mandujano has made headlines in the amateur divisions in the past years. Now, she's taken her game to the big show. She would overcome some mid-round trouble to fight all the way back to 1 under par, thanks in part to her sister, who also doubles as her caddy.
Oh, it's huge for me. The minute I second guess myself about a shot, I'll ask her and she's like, no, this is the shot you're going to throw. Like, there's no doubt about it. I know you can hit it. And if I know she has confidence in me, I have confidence in myself.
And the confidence paid off as she would find herself playing 37 points above her rating. But she hasn't even thought about round 2.
Honestly, no, not at the moment. I haven't. But with my sister on my side, I'm pretty confident I'll do well.
Despite being a fresh face on the scene, Valerie would put in work, hitting 90% of her C1X putts, as well as claiming that second spot both for birdies and par shots. Taking a look at our leaderboard through that first round, Eveliina Salonen, like I said, leads by 6. But Catrina Allen, Valerie Mandujano, and Erika Stinchcomb make up that leader group, followed by Rebecca Cox, Paige Bierkus, and a host of others. That's going to be it from the first round in the FPO division. Make sure to tune in and follow along all week long.
Hello everyone and welcome to day number 2 at the 2019 PDGA Professional World Championships presented by Infinite Disc. Terry Miller, the Disc Golf Guy, alongside Hannah Macbeth. And Hannah, we're here at Sunset Hills and we're checking in on the FPO division. We're going to feature and highlight them today. Pretty exciting stuff.
Sure is. Can't wait to see it. Sunset Hills Disc Golf Course is a 7,539-foot par 61 beast that a lot of these women have already seen because of the Ledgestone, which happened, I think,
just 2 months ago in
Yeah,
June.
6 weeks ago, exactly.
Yeah. Our leader today, Eveliina Salonen from Finland, has not played this course, competed on this course so far this year, but I suspect she'll do okay. She has a bomb of an arm, so anxious to see that.
And we know that she is excited. She talked a little bit about in the piece just a moment ago about how the openness of this course might suit her game, as you just mentioned, the long throw that she has, a little bit wider fairways, a little bit more room to work with. Paige Pierce kind of echoed that thought when we talked with her last night on the podcast, saying that you can be off your line a little bit more here. Paige, along with others, all trying to make that run. Everyone right now playing catch up to try and go after Eveliina. She has a 6-stroke advantage after the first round of the Worlds. Very impressive opening day, and it sounds like we're going to be ready to go on the course here in just a few moments. We will be checking in with Dixon Gower throughout the day.
Eveliina Salonen.
And Eveliina starting off with a beautiful drive here on hole number 1. And
bringing that OB cart path to the left of the fairway into play a little bit more than I think she wanted to, but the fairway is seemingly wide open. The more distance you get off the tee, obviously, the easier. There is also a white OB fence to the right, and as usual, all golf greens and tee boxes are OB.
And Catrina's drive, a little bit more center fairway, as we were just mentioning, as opposed to what we saw from Eveliina. She'll be in great position there.
Valerie Mandujano shooting a -1, tied for second at Northwood Park. It was a 977 rated round for the 940 rated player. She's only 20 years old and hails from Universal City, Texas. This is her 10th event for 2019. She's not someone we see on tour, but I'm looking forward to seeing her in the future. She's a great player.
And Erika Stinchcomb finding the fairway as well. So 4 very good shots here to get started on hole 1. We're going to check in with Dixon Jowers to see what's going on and what the vibe in the feel is like out on the course.
Good morning and welcome out here to the course. Our ladies are off, and as far as a group goes, they're feeling pretty relaxed. The day is quite different than yesterday. It's not overcast. The wind is almost non-existent right now, although it was going about 10 or 15 miles an hour during the warm-up time. It's a warm day, but not overly hot. It should be a good day for a walk around the park. Now, for Valerie and for Erika, this is kind of their first time on the big professional stage with the cameras and all, so it'll be interesting to see how they ease into the round. Erika told me that she's excited. Did have a little trouble going to sleep last night, but she's ready to go. Catrina is relaxed, but very focused. She talked about that, she missed 6 circle 1 putts yesterday, and that was on her mind. She's ready to correct that. Eveliina shot fantastic. She's about as relaxed as you could possibly be. She's like a mix between the nihilist from Big Lebowski and like Snoop Dogg or something. She likes wooded courses. She likes open courses. She likes this weather. She likes other weather. She likes playing with these people. She likes playing with other people. She's just ready to go. So I'll be interested to see if the pressure of Worlds has any effect on this relative newcomer.
There we have it. Dixon Jowers giving a little of the insight that's being felt out on the course.
I think that's really interesting. I remember Paul at the pro panel on Monday said it's tough as an athlete to always be 100% mentally and physically, there's pains and aches and mental blocks, and you have to push through all of them. Catrina, no stranger to this big stage, a little bit different with her competitors. I don't think anybody's really familiar besides Eveliina. And then Eveliina as well, no stranger to the big competition stage, especially in where European disc golf is concerned. Valerie and Erika, though, very, very different for them. Erika has been touring more this year, having a little bit more of a difficulty, maybe cashing here and there. I believe she has, let's see, cashed 7 times so far this year. So she's playing better, definitely on an upswing, but Valerie is not on tour at all. This is her first time competing at the World Championships after a 3rd place finish at the Amateur World Championships in 2018. So she even said, I felt like Am Worlds really shook my nerves up, and this is her redemption. So we'll see how she handles everything today.
Well, and she speaks a lot of her sister and the support that she has from both her sister and the rest of her family. Unfortunately, we saw earlier in the week that her sister had to withdraw from the event due to injury. Otherwise, you would normally see both of them competing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And
I think that was...
what I will say about in terms of either nerves or experience, both of them have performed very well and won world titles in the past in the amateur ranks. So they've had pressure of being you know, in the spotlight, not to this scale, of course, but they have had some of that pressure. So we'll see how they deal with it, and we'll see if Eveliina ultimately is out of bounds or not, or how far left that push down behind the basket.
Yeah, there is the OB Lake and Woods to the left, all along the fairway, which definitely comes more into play as we're seeing on the shots.
I know I mentioned yesterday, Catrina celebrated a birthday yesterday. I hope she doesn't mind. I think her Facebook profile said she's 34, and happy birthday to her yesterday.
It's amazing to see how far she's come in her PDGA career. She turned pro in 2010. That's when she got her PDGA number. So I'm not sure if she was just playing locally and practicing, or if she's really just that much of an icon in disc golf. I wouldn't be surprised. Her hometown's Pipestone, Minnesota, and she's been representing Prodigy Discs for a number of years now.
All the way back to the beginning. I believe that came about in January of 2013, if I recall. So here's a quick look at the leaderboard. Of course, we'll keep you up to date with the scores, and you can follow along on UDisc as well. And we see that Paige Bjorkis and everyone from the Chase Card and beyond have gotten at least 3 or more holes in. And looks like scores so far in the early goings from the first 3 cards, I should say, are all at even or under. So also interesting to note that Paige Pierce, who ultimately came in 9th place yesterday when the round was all said and done, she knows she has a little work to do, and she's going to try and make up some ground out here at Sunset.
Speaking of Paige Bjorkis, our world champion from 2018, said that these 2 courses complement each other well, very well, and she's looking forward to competing on both of them. I know that's kind of the vibe that I got too from listening to the interviews and hearing everything the top touring professionals had to say about the courses. They like a well-rounded world championships. They like the mixture between wooded and open, and they like to see that. But one thing that they would like to see in the future that they mentioned was, could we compete on a course or a number of courses that are not on the tour? It's weird for some of them, they said, to come back here because it feels a little bit like Ledgestone.
Sure.
Even though there are 3 changes to the holes out here, it's still going to feel, you're still going to have that feel always when you come back to Central Illinois. You're just always going to think of Ledgestone, I think so.
That needs to sit down, and it does after Eveliina's off the top of the basket here on hole number 1.
I believe that may be Eveliina's first miss putt of this tournament inside circle 1. She's 100% from the circle yesterday. 79% fairway hits, putting her in 4th place overall for the fairway hit percentage. Catrina with a nice cleanup putt there. Catrina certainly needing to increase her circle one statistic from yesterday, only 40% in circle one.
Solid, confident putt. Sometimes, as we see when our players are getting to the very first hole and they're on the green, that first putt can maybe even set the tone for your day or for your confidence. And we see 3 very confident putts there. Of course, Eveliina's, like I mentioned, was just a bit high. And she's going to be, we're going to see a 2-stroke swing ultimately. And Eveliina walking away, she'll take the bogey. Catrina taking the birdie. And just like that, 2-stroke swing. We're going to take a look at hole number 2 here at Sunset Hills. Hannah, what's the plan?
Hole 2 is a 331-foot par 3. So the most common play here, if you look to the right, you're going to see that first tree coming in. Most of the women are going to play the hyzer around the right side of that tree with an overstable driver. The main challenge on this hole is the quick green. It slopes down, allowing any disc to roll away OB. There's also an OB cart path to the left, so the forehand may be a bit tricky. You might have to hang it out and have it bring in a couple more obstacles than you'd like. The OB golf green on the right of the fairway, players also need to avoid, but if you can shake off your nerves and focus and really trust yourself, this is a pretty easy must-get birdie.
And we'd like to, of course, again, thank Central Coast Disc Golf with the assist on our drone previews. We're expecting them to have coverage posted from the action that they accumulated yesterday. I believe both Paul Macbeth and Kevin Jones, some of the hotter scores were found on that Central Coast coverage. And so you guys can look for that. And they're also going to be covering our FPO lead card as well. So pretty exciting stuff out there. Thank you again for joining us. We're here on Wednesday morning for round number 2 of the 2019 PDGA World Championships presented by Infinite Disc. Hannah Macbeth and myself, Terry Miller, the Disc Golf Guy. Hannah, one of the conversations that has been taking place over the last few days is weather, maybe humidity, the actual temperatures, whether we're going to be see blue skies for the rest of the week. How is that going to play into these players as they're thinking about the various conditions, tee pads, things of that nature? What are some of the prep or some of the things that they should be worried about?
Well, we have all new permanent tee pads here at Sunset, all concrete. And yesterday, normally tee pads, that's great. Concrete tee pads, evenly slabbed, everything, that's perfect. And you would consider it to be world caliber. But yesterday we did have some unfortunate news from Sarah Holcomb as she was carded 2 extra strokes for misplaying a hole. I believe it was hole 6. She tried to play behind the tee pad because she found that it was unsafe. It was slippery, it was humid, it was wet. It had stormed the night before. The women play early. You know, it's 10 a.m. right now, so they're out there when the dew is on. And she tried to play behind the tee pad and was told that she misplayed the hole and was rewarded, or I guess penalized, with 2 strokes. I think that's going to be in everybody's head now. You know, that's why you're going to see a lot of these women doing like warm-up shots and maybe like warm-up pumps, but hopefully they're wearing the right footwear and they can just continue to trust themselves. A lot of these holes out here, Terry, are just must get birdies, and they know that. So Worlds is a marathon. It's 5 days of golf, and they've got to keep going regardless of the mistakes that they make. But whoever wins this World Championships is going to have to persevere and really capitalize on all of the opportunities. That was a super long answer to your question.
Yeah, no, I'm just kidding. No, we saw Catrina throw her shot and parked it. Looks like Eveliina is about pin high. She's going to be to the left of the pin.
Eveliina again throwing with that, flirting with the OB on the left side of the fairway. That cart path is, again, like I said, OB, and it lines the entire fairway. The green is slick, it slopes down. Not only does it allow your disc to roll away OB, but if it catches your disc just right, it could essentially skip it right off an OB left as well. Valerie putting that out really nice and wide. You see a lot of movement on her disc. That's an excellent shot.
Just a bit past the basket, probably inside the circle or near circle's edge. And Erika's is tracking toward the pin as well. Gets a nice skip, and she maybe is closer than Kat. We'll be back in a moment.
Passion is more than fiery emotion. It feeds the spark to start your day. It fuels your obsessions. It inspires your dreams. Passion challenges your fears, and it repeatedly bathes you in sweat until you are transformed into a new, better you. Disc golf isn't just your passion, it's ours too.
Welcome back. We are here on hole 2. Hannah, I'm going to have plenty of mistakes today because, well, that's sometimes what I do. But Eveliina did take the par on hole number 1. I think I earlier misspoke and said that she was bogeying. Her putt that she had missed off the top of the basket looked like it was, in fact, for birdie. So first bogey on me then here today.
I think it's important to note this is Eveliina's first time competing in the World Championships. She's, you know, no stranger to big events. She's played 8 events this year, 1 win, which was the Memorial earlier this year, 5 second-place finishes, 1 4th place at the European Open, and then 1 6th place at the first NT of the year, the Las Vegas Challenge. So even though she's not won anything since Memorial, she's right in her element, I feel, as a disc golfer. That's, I think, why yesterday her remark was, I'm excited and I don't have any pressure.
A great putt for birdie by Valerie. In speaking to Erika before the round today, I said, what was happening yesterday as you had such a great round, find yourself on the lead card as she just takes the birdie? She said, I finally just believed in myself. And I thought that was such a powerful statement because she knows she has the shots. She knows she can perform, but she said there was a confidence and just a belief in herself. And it was really great to hear that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Her player profile on Westside Disc said her career goals for disc golf include being able to tour for months at a time, which she's currently doing, and for several consecutive years. So this will be her first. I'm excited for her. That's really awesome. She's pushing every limitation she has until she can be her best possible self.
We move over to hole 3. This one's one of the more daunting ones here at 384 feet, Hannah.
Hole 3 is a 384-foot, like you said, par 3. So players can opt for the forehand around the tree or throw a slight turnover shot in front of them. Most want to end up before the hazard bunkers that you see as marked, thanks to Central Coast Disc Golf again, and play for the par. So most want to end up before those, just play it for the par. The reason is because it's difficult to park this hole off the tee shot. The hazards surrounding the basket create such a small landing zone, and as we saw in the hole before, the discs can skip and take off. If you do land in the hazard, though, it does play. You play where it lies. So you could still essentially make your putt and save par, but...
Yeah, when in talking to the women about the holes that are very attackable out here, where they're going to try and pick up their birdies, what their game plan is going to be, you'll find that many of them will say hole number 3, they're usually just fine with walking away with a par.
Right.
There's so much danger out here that you find... oh, it looks like we're going to get right to Valerie here. But there's so much danger on this hole that I can understand that just playing maybe a little bit more safer or conservative is the way to go.
So we saw Catrina actually opt for the flex hyzer So her disc came out straight and then ended up hyzering. Valerie may be looking to do the same, but coming up a little bit short and just going straight into the tree. I think something that's important to notice for these younger competitors is the time between their shots and the relationship that that has with how successful their shots are. That was a very quick shot from Valerie and maybe not the result she wanted.
And Erika finding the bunker there on the left side. Now, she will be relatively close to the basket. We'll see if she can still walk away with a par. Eveliina, slight adjustment from what we see from Erika, and she's going to be a little bit shorter, but right on line. We'll be back in a moment.
Oh, no. All right.
Right? He said free relief. Okay.
Valerie consulting with her caddy, Alexis, her sister.
Yeah, I don't believe her disc is OB. I believe it's just roped off because, well, as you can tell, it's not a very safe footing situation. So I believe she's currently taking free relief from this area, as we might have heard them say. Any white paint or ropes similar to that are normally for the ball golfers only. This is traditionally a ball golf or just golf course. So we should run into that maybe a few more times throughout the round.
What a delicate shot, executed perfectly by Valerie with the bunkers on both sides of the basket. And speaking of the basket, we are seeing new baskets, as someone pointed out that's following along. There has been a switch in baskets, and Prodigy has part of their sponsorship, I believe, in working with the World Championships. We've seen these baskets replaced with the new Prodigy baskets, since some of you may have watched coverage during the Ledgestone a few months ago. And Kat, who is off to a great start here this morning. Opening with birdies on both holes 1 and 2. Let's see if she can avoid the trouble here.
Maybe a little over aggressive for an upshot. She'll still have a look for putt, but there's a lot more hazards being brought into play than I think she would have liked.
Yeah, if she gets aggressive with this putt for par, she could find herself going up and over the basket and finding the bunker on the backside of that basket.
Catrina has 8 wins so far this year. 3 consecutive wins made it feel like this would be the year of Catrina. 2 NTs and an A tier from Glassblown Open, San Francisco Open, and Masters Cup. And 1 finish outside the top 3 was in March. That was 4th place at the Memorial, which Eveliina ended up taking. Then her 2nd place finish was this past June on this very course. She gave up a 2-stroke lead to Paige Pierce in the final round of the Ledgestone Insurance Open, and But when she was asked about it at the pro panel, she remarked, ledgestone is not a factor. I had completely forgotten about it until now, actually. And Worlds is a whole different tournament pressure and experience. So it's moments like this when I have to wonder if she does actually think about it, or if she was being honest and transparent with us when she said it really does not affect me.
Eveliina with a great putt right into the center of the chains. And she follows up her previous miscue from hole 2 with a birdie here on 3. We're going to get a Sandy Point Resort and Disc Golf Ranch replay. A solid putt by Eveliina. And there we see Catrina not messing with the potential hazard behind the basket and laying up so that she'll ultimately walk away with the bogey. Or in this case, jog away with the bogey.
It's all about that mental composure, Terry. It's a marathon, not a sprint. Being able to handle moments like that, mistakes, well, could boost your confidence in other areas throughout this course. We still have a lot of golf ahead of us.
Erika seems to remain confident here. And Valerie will tap in for her par. I believe we're going to have another update coming to us from Dixon Jowers, who's out there on hole number 3.
All right, so there we are through 3 holes. A little bit of a mix-up right there on the hole as far as the scores go. Catrina had taken that 5-shot deficit and turned it into 3 shots through the first 2 holes, but the birdie bogey swing here on hole 3 puts Eveliina back up by 5 shots. Valerie right there, fantastic upshot. You guys don't understand the level of difficulty to go up the hill from the weird stance to land in between the 2 bunkers. So she's feeling pretty good about that right now. And Erika, I don't know if you heard off the box when she threw it, she said, I didn't know I could throw that far. Before the round, she was talking about that this isn't really her sort of course because she doesn't have the same sort of distance. So that's good to see her get a little bit of, you know, man, I really roped that one right there. The wind is picking up, so that's going to start being a factor. You saw the difference between Catrina's drive and the rest of the cards' drives on hole 2. Let's see if that starts becoming a major factor as we go through the early part of the round.
All right. Well, thank you, Dixon Jowers, for the updates out there. As they are preparing to tee off here on hole number 4 in just a few moments, we actually have to take a look at the scorecards, and we're going to check in with UDisc also in a moment. But Ellen Widboom is currently sitting 5 under through 6 holes and just tearing up the course.
That's incredible.
Ellen loving the action out here at Sunset, and that is just to the right of the pin.
From Eveliina. Hole 4 is downhill the entire way to the green, 345-foot par 3. Players should opt to throw a trustworthy mid or fairway, similar to, well, actually, exactly what Eveliina just showed us. You want something that will finish left, avoiding the OB areas. There's a cart path, a private property on the left, a golf green, sand traps. Again, another really birdieable hole. Need to have confidence, need to have trust in your discs and in yourself. Take into consideration the slight headwind, the angle, the disc choice, the sloping green. There's a lot going on, but these competitors are doing a great job so far with this round. Catrina putting it out very wide. Great shot for her.
I also am going to briefly mention Sarah Gilpin, 3 down through the first 5 holes. She is actually in second place here at the tournament at the moment.
She's pretty new to the scene this year.
This is
another great shot from Erika. I think I want to talk about, just for a second, Erika's stats from yesterday. She didn't have great statistics. I mean, she only had 3 birdies and 2 bogeys. But other than that, you know, everything else was pretty normal. It's 88% from circle 1, 0% parked, fairway hits 47%, Birdie percentage, 17%. Scramble percentage, I think, is what kept her in the mix and on this lead cart. She was 82%. And for those of you who don't know what scramble is, it's anytime you're off the fairway, whether you're OB or just off in the woods somewhere, and you save your par. Erika had several pars yesterday. Like I said, only 2 bogeys, 3 birdies. And she's just she just looks comfortable out there this morning.
Yeah, when I had talked to her again just before the round, she was saying that she didn't do anything magical. She made a really long putt on hole number 12 on the par 5 to save a bogey. She said that was about 55 feet. She was really excited about that. But otherwise, her scrambling was good, as you just mentioned. She just felt like things were going well for her. And again, she was talking about believing in herself. And I said, your scorecard was relatively clean. It wasn't, and she said she was perfectly fine with that and that she really enjoyed it. So as we take a look at the leaderboard, we just mentioned Sarah Gilpin is up 3 positions as she's now moved into sole second place here at the World Championships. Catrina and Valerie, along with Paige Bjerkes, are sitting in a tie for third. And then also looking down, now we see Paige Pierce jumping onto the leaderboard in terms of the top 10, but she sits just 1 under through, 1 under for the day, but sits at even overall to get her into that tied for 10th place position. And Ellen Widboom, the number right next to her tied for 6th, where you see that little 11 along with the up arrow, that means she has moved up 11 spots.
That's incredible.
With her start here this morning. Let's see if she can keep it going. I've seen her win a number of events this year. Yeah. She took down an A tier in Florida that I was fortunate enough to record a few months ago. And Ellen Widboom kind of on her own tour, doing her own thing this year. But it looks like she showed up to Sunset and she's ready to play today.
It's definitely, I think, exciting to see these women compete in the woods and something like Northwood, which resembles, honestly, the courses that you're going to see in Scandinavia and Europe. And maybe that's just because they have more land available and they have, maybe a bit more professional clubs putting in courses instead of amateurs. I don't know. But to have the opportunity for these women to also compete on a world's caliber ball golf course is really exciting. And I think Ellen, hailing from Florida, is maybe finding success out here because it's something she's so used to. But that, I guess, begs the question, do you see disc golf trending more towards ball golf courses or woods courses?
Well, as a moment ago, we saw Valerie miss her birdie attempt. Here's Erika, and I can answer that in just a moment. I think Erika's going to take the birdie, and she does. What a great
incredible putt from Erika.
And to answer your question regarding ball golf, disc golf, we know that a few years ago it was talked about that we're seeing for every golf course that's closing, we're seeing 2 new disc golf courses being put in. That's the average rate of growth and decline of the two facilities or venues, so to speak. So I think we're going to see more courses on golf courses. That land is going to become available, or it's going to become multi-use, like we're finding here at Sunset Hills. And I think that's a trend that's going to continue. And it's certainly going to challenge all of our designers to make the best use of the land. They're going to have a brief walk. Let's take a look at hole number 5.
Hole 5 is a 246-foot par 3. Player shots need to come through this very small, tight gap off the tee and over this OB pond. This short hole is still a must-get birdie for these competitors. The forehand is a popular option to take the second OB pond that you see now on your left out of play. But I still suspect we're going to see a lot of straight putter shots here as well. Specifically, Valerie, I would not be surprised if she throws her Nova. She's pretty famous for throwing that. I think that's a Bradley Williams influence, maybe a Paul Macbeth influence as well.
Yeah, we've seen, when you look at Valerie and her sister, their throwing styles, you could almost perfectly mirror or mimic what we see from Bradley Williams down in Texas.
It's true,
that
yeah.
influence is there. I feel like they look so similar when they're throwing. And Bradley is known as one of the smoothest throwers in all of disc golf. So
Yeah.
if you're going to emulate anyone, that seems like a very logical choice.
Yeah, actually, Valerie and Alexis, her sister and caddy for today, came to our house after Am Worlds last year and trained with Paul a bit about form and putting and all of those things. They took the week and came to stay with us. So she's definitely done her work. She puts in a lot of effort and energy off the course, and that's something we actually see Catrina Allen talking about as well. It's all about preparation for her this week, what she's doing before the rounds, what she's doing after the rounds, what she's putting in her body, the rest she's getting. Everything is down to a science for her. It's exciting to see the sport grow in this way.
And after carding back-to-back birdies on 3 and 4, Eveliina with the honors on 5, and I'd say she's about 28 feet or maybe 26 feet just past the basket. I think it's one thing to be parked or very close to this basket. Of course, that's what they're attempting to do. But when you're on one side or another, it might make your putt a little more or less stressful. 15 feet to the left of this pin is a little more comfortable than 15 feet to the right, knowing that there's that OB looming just behind it. And Kat says, well, I'm not going to worry about my putting when I'm just 8 feet away
Just
like that shot.
tapping in all the time. And it's important to note, speaking of that, that Circle 1 X putting, for those of you that are also following along on UDisc, this year does not include tap-ins. So Kat's seemingly easy tap-in, if she's able to do it, because I don't want to say anything, will not affect her Circle 1 stats. So
That's not going to hyzer back, and it's coming in just past the basket again, just outside of Circle 1. We'll be back in a moment after a word from these sponsors.
I practice a lot. It's a vice. An escape from stress, from work. It's my chance to just get away during the week. It's like meeting up with an old friend, you know? I'll never get tired of that sound.
Poison ivy's itchy rash ruins the best day outdoors. Zanfal gives immediate relief, washes away the toxin, stops the horrific itch. Safe for kids and pets. No downtime. Got poison ivy? Get Zanfal. It works.
For the dreamers, the planners, thrill seekers, and chill seekers. For the adventurous, the curious, the creative, and the passionate. For the young and the young at heart. For her, for him, for everyone.
Erika Stinchcomb hanging out her drive a little bit more right than she wanted, but staying clear of the OB. Sometimes that's the name of the game.
Oh,
my
yes!
goodness. What an excellent putt. Wow.
Sandy Point Resort replay.
Yes, there is OB right behind her basket that she's attempting to throw. That was so good.
Nice
That
putt.
was amazing.
And Catrina right there to give her the low 5. And in the other camera view, I see Erika kind of replaying it and motioning just how it fell in. Left side of the basket. Great birdie by Erika.
Getting aggressive just like Erika did on that putt. Missing right, but steering clear of the OB pond.
Here's Eveliina for her 3rd birdie in a row. And so it looks like she will likely relinquish a stroke again to Catrina when Catrina will be putting for birdie. But first, we're going to have Valerie.
This is actually Valerie's first professional event outside of her home state of Texas.
And Catrina with the easy tap in. And I believe we're going to have a little bit of a lengthy walk, and there may or may not be a backup on hole 6, but we're going to head over there. We'll be back in a moment. Here we are for hole number 6, Hannah, the first par 5 actually that we're going to see out here. It's got plenty of challenge, doesn't it?
It does. So similar to hole 1, the play here is to throw a reliable driver that will help accomplish as much distance as possible. There's an OB pond 515 feet off the tee, so some players may choose to throw across on their second shot depending on the distance of their first. Otherwise, they'll be forced to lay up and play for birdie or par, depending on how well they can play out the rest of the hole. There is the OB cart path again on the right. Any golf greens that the players come into contact with on this hole are in fact OB, but I mean, as you can see from this flyover, it's nothing to mess with. This could be a really awesome eagle opportunity. We saw Catrina Allen at the Ledgestone Insurance Open in the final round go for the eagle and just have to convert for her birdie. But this is a great hole, I believe, for women's disc golf. It's not too often you get to see eagle opportunities out on the course for women.
And just like that, Hannah, we're treated to some bonus coverage. It looks like we've caught up with our chase card. A moment ago, that was Kristen Tatar from Estonia throwing a forehand shot. She was laying up short of the pond, so she'll be throwing her next shot out and over. This is Rebecca Cox, who also appears to be laying up just short of the pond.
Yeah, you see a lot of women will go driver, mid-range or putter, something they can control to get up to the water without going too far. And then mid-range or driver again and make your putt. If you miss your putt, you take the par 5. So like I said, it's really excellent to be able to see an eagle opportunity for the women. A lot of the time for women's disc golf, if women are eagling a hole or having an opportunity, TDs kind of think, oh, maybe it's too easy, we've got to lengthen it or we've got to change it, which is interesting because when the top men do that, it's amazing and exciting, but that's a whole different conversation for
Somebody's
maybe
going to be hosting
backup.
a course design and UDisc clinic here. Okay. No, I fully understand what you're saying. And this is one of those holes where you have to be fully committed on that second shot, as you're talking about, whether it's that eagle or you're thinking, okay, I just want to lay up short of the water and then possibly cross over. Whatever it is, you need a full commitment. And I know we've seen this hole being played during the Ledgestone, and also I think even back to the skins match that I saw for the St. Jude fundraising a few weeks ago. There's a plug for you guys to go out and watch that on the channel. But really just deciding that, hey, I need to go for this. And this could be one of those heartbreaking moments where somebody's going for this second or third shot and they find their disc in the middle of the drink or in the middle of the pond. that may be their favorite or their second favorite driver. Those are all things that have to be, on their mind as they're trying to cross the water.
That's a really good point, Terry. I think so often we see these women dig into their bags and pull out a shot. We just assume they have everything in their bag and they have backups, and you can only carry a certain amount of discs. So,
well, not by rule, but let's be careful there.
Yeah.
But yes, you mean
Physically.
as in what you're typically bringing with you. Oh.
See Rebecca maybe take that tree on the right into play a little bit, but manages to get onto the green and almost puts it right into the basket, seemingly.
And we're taking a quick look here. This is the group that has caught up. This is, of course, our lead card, but as they're standing down just for a few moments, once the players get onto the green or are attempting to walk around the pond, that's when our card will be ready to go and throw.
I think it's important to note, we talk about Catrina, and we know she's a seasoned veteran here on the tour, and we know that she's no stranger to the lead card at the PDGA World Championships. But this stretch of the tour, this particular part of the tour, the summer, is long. She's done the President's Cup, the European Open, Idlewild, Music City Open in Nashville. Now she's here at the World Championships. Next weekend is the Delaware NT. Then afterwards, it's the MVP Open, Nantucket, Green Mountain Championships, U.S. Women's and Hall of Fame, and any other tournament she wants to put in on her schedule. Catrina has already played 19 events this year, and I just listed, I think, 7 more.
In like the next 9 weekends, yes. It is truly a grind and incredible.
And it is so important to recognize that as spectators and fans, what exactly these women are doing, what they're putting their bodies through, their minds through. The homesickness can set in because of the time away from family and friends. You can get the yips. I think she talks about openly about experiencing that last year with putting. It's a lot. It's a lot for these players, and they have to put all of that aside and focus in on this tournament.
Erika, who has carded back-to-back birdies on 4 and 5. And with that tee shot there, that is all but certainly going to put Erika in a layup position. From there, she will just be getting it close to the edge before throwing over the pond. Someone like Eveliina or possibly Catrina with a little bit more distance, I think they're going to be a little bit, they'll be more tempted to go out and over the water, and Eveliina with a crush here.
Eveliina saying openly in her PDGA radio interview that she is so excited to get out to this course today because she loves to throw far, and you're seeing it firsthand here on hole 6.
Also interesting to see a moment ago on our leaderboard that Valerie has lost 3 or 4 positions this morning, and she's 1 under. So 1 under for the round. So finding that the birdies are plentiful out here, and you need to be birdieing if you want to be moving up or maintaining position on the leaderboard. Here's a message from Keen.
We're going to start to see these players either choose to attack the green, which I would be surprised. I mean, Eveliina made it very far up the fairway. As for the others, I'm assuming we're going to see a lot of layups to the water and then play out for the birdie or the par. But Erika, we need to remember her scramble percentage yesterday was 82%. She's 4th out of the entire field. But now she's in a place where she can choose whatever shot, whatever line, whichever disc she wants. There's not a lot of obstacles except for the ones in her head. And a player being able to handle that is really going to decide whether she stays up top on this leaderboard or chase card or not.
She's kind of wheeling that over to get to the left. She knows that the shorter grass on that left will give her a good solid run up. And even being on that hillside may even determine whether you're going to try and run for anything or not, having that awkward footing or that awkward run up. As we're taking a quick look at the basket in the green, that pond. I was about to say it looks very inviting, but I would say more so for the frogs than for our players out there. Quite a few turtles can be found out on the course, as we saw during the Ledgestone Insurance Open as well.
We love the wildlife here at the FPO. Valerie playing this hole very well. I think maybe wanting a bit more distance on her upshot, but again, not taking the pond into play, just completely trying to ignore it, just play over it.
And it looks as if Catrina and Eveliina are almost side by side. We'll see if Catrina gets any kind of indicator or makes any decision based on what she sees from Eveliina here in terms of wind reads. And that looks low, but I think that's going to clear on the left side, and it does. And she is over in 2 and looking at an eagle opportunity here on hole number 6.
Great control of her disc. It's hard sitting in the booth to read what the wind is doing and how many factors there are to take into consideration. We don't know the dampness of the green, if it's dried up. As I said, morning golf comes with a lot of obstacles like dew and wet tee pads, but these competitors are just making it look so easy.
And also more than enough power by Catrina. And Catrina might be in a little bit better position, as I think she's just gotten past the tree. So that may not come into play for her putt, as she'll also be putting for the Eagle 3. And this is one of my favorite views as we were just panning over the basket, looking back to the players. I've been out on Sunset a number of times, filming, commentating, and watching golf. And I have to say this is one of my favorite positions on the entire course. So picturesque. This is Valerie's 3rd shot. She could eagle from there, maybe. Oh, and a great shot.
Really incredible shot from Valerie.
The control is what I have to think about, because you definitely, obviously, you need to get it past the water, but you don't want to blow too far past the basket, because then you're going to be putting back at the water's edge just behind it. So
And we see the
excellent control.
Right, and we see the disc coming into the green with little to no movement. So that leads me to believe that she's throwing something slower, a mid-range or a putter. Being able to control a mid-range and a putter over water that distance is just what puts her above her competition. For any FPO, great shot. For any women in disc golf right now, practice with your putters, practice with your mids, because moments like this, if you were to throw a driver, a fairway driver, it would not settle onto the green as nicely. And that's just another pro tip that you can get from watching these women compete today.
Looks like they're going to move down the fairway. We can take a quick look at some of the scores, as there's plenty of blue on our scorecards if you're following along on UDisc. And then here we take a look at the top 10 on the leaderboard. And Eveliina still sitting out in front. However, she has just 1 down for the round, which is one of the lesser scores that we're finding out of everyone else on this leaderboard. Callie McMorran moving up 5 spots, as she is now in a tie for 5th along with Valerie. Paige Pierce in that tie as well, moving up 4 spots. Haley King also sits there. So we see that huge tie now for 5th place as they're trying to push up on the leaderboard. And
Paige
looks like
Pierce carding the eagle on this hole.
just a few moments ago,
Yes,
or a little
sorry.
while ago. Awesome. And
Oh, wow. And Catrina almost following suit.
And I was mistaken. I was hopeful for her that they were, in fact, past the tree. And it looks like Catrina still had the tree to contend with, as does Eveliina. You know, that branch that's hanging down is definitely at least a little bit in her. Yeah, she was keeping it low to avoid that tree branch.
And just noticing the movement that we're seeing throughout the field today, this is why these birdies, I keep referring to them as must-get birdies, because if you're not capitalizing, we see Valerie Mandujano today coming out and shooting a pretty clean game. She only has 1 birdie on the day so far, but, you know, she's putting for birdie here from circle 1. And honestly, you've really got to notice that that's what's not keeping her up top. That's what's allowing a lot of women to kind of surpass her, even though she had such a hot round yesterday. And Eveliina too. Eveliina is now only 4 strokes ahead of Kat, both putting for birdie, giving up an opportunity for eagle on this hole. As amazing as it was, these opportunities matter out here.
And it looks like we have Dixon Jowers is going to give us an on-course update. Let's cut to him now.
So there we are through 6 round of birdies there on the card. Been playing pretty quick so far, but now we're about to bog down a little bit. There's a full card backup on hole 7. It's kind of surprising that the half-hour gap that this group had to begin the round is already gone, and we're like 50 minutes worth of real time, and they've eaten up 30 of those minutes already. However, it's a nice day out on the course. Lots of birdies are happening. They're feeling into it, and the mood on the card is pretty relaxed. Walking down the fairway on hole 4, Eveliina and Catrina were talking about that Eveliina's going to be flying through Chicago on her way home on Tuesday, talking about the pizza that she can have, the shopping that she can do, and they're just kind of laughing, talking about the life of disc golf. I don't know if you saw the pictures, but Eveliina had to get a disc out of the mud yesterday and was pretty much solid, black, thick, nasty mud from the knees down. So they were getting a laugh out of that. So pretty light here going on the course, but man, all that talking about Chicago and pizza gets me a little hungry. The starter announced that every FPO player gets free lunch at the restaurant here at the course afterwards. So I'm going to see if I can be FPO in spirit in there and sneak in and get a free lunch. Terry, can you help me out on that one?
I'm not sure that I carry that much disc golf cred around here to get Dixon free lunch, but I do want to thank Sunset Hills for being such gracious hosts, not only here for the tournament, as we're here for the Ledgestone and for the World Championships in terms of being out on the course and playing, but here we are also headquartered with the booth for the week. And thank you so much to Sunset Hills as we're here on hole number 7. And we're actually with the chase card. So a little bonus coverage. Kristen Tatar from Estonia. This is Rebecca Cox from Ohio.
Hole 7's the 570-foot par 4. This is actually the first change the women will see on this course since their time here at the Ledgestone Insurance Open in June. Hole 7's seemingly more wooded than any of the other holes have been, as wooded as a traditional ball golf course can get. There's OB marked to the left and right of the fairway. Otherwise, it's pretty simple, gettable par 4 for these women, for sure.
And our defending world champion, Paige Bierka, is throwing her tee shot. And you notice the tee pad. I know we talked about whether or not, there's any dew or rain or anything that maybe has come over overnight. But if you notice the tee pad that we were just looking at, that is as fresh of a tee pad as you can find out here. One of the pieces of feedback that Ledgestone Insurance Open had received this last year was that they were challenged by the tees or a lack of uniformity or consistency within the tees here at Sunset. Nate Heinold, the tournament director, I recall hearing him say, well, we're going to work really hard to get 12 tee pads installed before the World Championships. A few days later, not only did he say they got 12 installed, but they actually got 18. So they were able to get the entire course all outfitted with tee pads here. And that's just a testament to the work and the the collaboration that takes place with Sunset Hills, along with the PDGA, along with Nate Heinold and Nate Heinold's incredible staff and crew, in order to make sure that that happened here for the event. And looks like they're blessed with some great tee pads. Again, Terry Miller, the Disc Golf Guy, along with Hannah Macbeth, thank you guys so much for joining us here today. Over 3,000 viewers are tuned in and watching our FPO lead card coverage with a little bonus chase card. Like, share, subscribe, do all of those types of things. Instagram, the Twitter. You do the Twitter and stuff, the Twitters.
I do the Twitter.
Yeah, so if you could, go out there, please just make sure that you're sharing the fact that you're watching live disc golf. Tomorrow afternoon, we're going to be bringing you MPO, and then we'll be here again on Friday, bringing you the FPO in the morning, and then on Saturday, we'll have both. We're going to wrap up the championships then.
I'm excited. Do you think you'll cry again?
Let's not talk about that. All right. It was very emotional. It was awesome watching Paige Bjorkis last year, and I thank you again for joining us.
Yeah, that was awesome.
You were back by popular demand and then some this year, so thank you for rejoining us.
You're welcome. What do you say?
I don't know. What do you got? You do a bunch of homework. What do you have for us?
Something that I wanted to talk about, nerd alert. Okay, I have to talk about Eveliina Salonen for a second. She's 19 years old, turning 20 this year. That just blows me away. This is her third time to the U.S. 54 of her 61 PDGA career wins have been in the Open Women's Division. Wow. I know. That's crazy, including 1 major, 14 A-tiers, and 3 top 5 finishes at the European Open. And she started racking up wins in the Open Division in 2014 at the age of 14. That's a lot for me to take it.
Well, it's truly incredible. As we just saw Paige Bjorkis throw her approach shot, looks like Rebecca is lining up hers. What's incredible about that is I think back to a few years ago when Catrina was essentially unbeatable a couple years ago. She was having a great year, and her first loss handed to her a few years ago was when she went international and then was beat by a teenager, and that teenager being Eveliina at the time. So that's when everyone had to take notice of who is this player and how good is she.
That's when we all started noticing Eveliina, but she's really been around in European disc golf for quite some time. I don't know if that says anything about the way that European disc golf is handling itself. I mean, we hear all the time, especially with everybody just returning from the European Open and Masters Cup and Estonian Championships and all of those tournaments. We see the professionalism over there. I mean, the gallery at the European Open in Finland had thousands and thousands of people, and now we see their competitors coming here, and there's just a whole different caliber of play. They have, I think it was Mahmoud Barani's podcast, The Inside Line, did an interview with Seppo and Vanessa and a couple other pros about European disc golf and why it's so popular. And just, they've been doing throwing sports for quite some time over there in Finland and Europe. They have leagues where you can go, you know, moms will drop off their 10-year-old sons just to go putt for a couple hours or just go play at the course. It's not the same. Help me out here. It's not the same as you would see here.
The atmosphere and the environment is definitely a little bit more professional.
Thank you.
And it's taken just that much more seriously overall.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know when I was in Finland a few weeks ago, I ultimately played alongside a couple of competitors, and I would have had no idea if they were 24 or the fact that I think they were in 15 or 16, the way they dressed, the way they carried themselves, how professional they were. It was really, really inspiring to see the growth and the development that's taking place over there. And a moment ago, we saw Paige Bjorkis, I believe, throw her long putt. This looks like Sarah Gilpin, who's been having a great round to get things going. I know we talked about her a little earlier. Now she is 4 down through 6 holes, and she has moved up 2 positions into a tie for third. A perfectly clean scorecard. She did par on hole 1 and hole 3, but she has 4 birdies and no bogeys, and off to a great start here today.
That is absolutely 100% what these women need to do out here on this course. Keep it clean and capitalize on those birdies when you can.
We have Rebecca Cox throwing her third shot.
Rebecca Cox coming off of some really good play. I remember her at Worlds last year. Did she need to DNF last year due to her shoulder injury?
I'm trying to remember the exact event. I know she had to withdraw from an event. I don't recall if it was Worlds.
I know that her and Paige Bierkes were coming up and really putting on a show for us at Smuggler's Notch in Vermont. I don't remember how Rebecca fared, and I'm disappointed that I don't know. Sorry, everyone.
You should do some homework.
I should really try more.
No, you're already making me look bad enough. All right, here's Sarah Gilpin trying to keep that scorecard clean. This is her putt for par.
Great putt make by Sarah Gilpin.
And in just a few moments, it looks like we should be back with our tee. Catrina Allen, I see, getting ready. A question I'll throw out there and put in store for you in a little bit, Hannah, is you've asked, or we've talked about the professionalism and what we see over in Finland and the rest of Europe for how disc golf is growing. And now that I know you've traveled there a number of times, I'd love to know exactly what you think is behind that success, as you've been there and experienced it from a spectator perspective and traveling along with Paul. And
yeah, so
what do you feel like is the reason for that success?
When we went to Finland, we stayed in Helsinki with Nina Turtinainen and Jale Stor, and Jale's actually here competing this week. He's my Innova teammate and just a great all-around guy, mentor to Eveliina, usually can be seen big brothering her around the U.S. and taking her wherever she needs to go. But he and Nina, in their spare time, work as trainers for disc golf. So they're not taking their friends to the course and teaching them how to play. People are hiring them and paying them money to teach them how to be better at disc golf. And all of the people that they're teaching, at least Nina, are women. And for Jale, a lot of the guys that he is teaching are really young, 13 to 15 years old, not necessarily on the tour yet, not necessarily cashing at events yet. But it's amazing that he has so many tutors in disc golf, in a sport that we see so casually played here in the US. And I think because of the impact it has on the kids, on the children, and they're growing up in love with it, and their parents want to get involved, and the family members want to go out and play, and the competitive nature of the Europeans, it becomes this big professional market for the sport, and it attracts outside sponsors. I mean, we saw Ford was the title sponsor at the European Open, which is great. Or maybe not a title sponsor, but one of the major sponsors for sure. I mean, their cars and their banners and their hats were everywhere. So it's just really taking off, and it's exciting to see. And a lot of people, I think, are getting fired up about making those moves here in the US as well.
Valerie's tee shot just a bit low. We're going to move down the fairway. We'll be back in a moment.
Zuka is now producing limited edition color choices. Zuka can add custom embroidery to the front and/or sides of the bag. Zuka is now producing limited edition color choices. Zuka can add custom embroidery to the front and/or sides of the bag.
When I need to check the wind, I just let out my hair.
Disc golf is 90% mental. The other 10% also mental.
If you want to make new friends on the course, pick up someone's disc in the fairway by accident.
Stay getting birdies, my friends.
Valerie playing it out wide, getting a little bit of a skip to it. She'll have a long look there for birdie. We'll see just how aggressive she will be with it.
Valerie, as I mentioned, not part of the professional tour. This is her first professional event outside her home state of Texas. She's won her first tournaments of the year, all pro B tiers, which is excellent. She normally competes alongside her sister Alexis, but today we see Alexis taking care of the mental game for Valerie instead of the competition game. Alexis, again, just suffering a groin injury and looking to be back and recovered, probably having some FOMO, fear of missing out for her first World Championships. But Valerie is the older sister, so it's only right that she plays Worlds first, I guess.
Great approach shot there by Erika, putting her within 10 feet of the basket. What's interesting to note is just how far Eveliina throws. She is so powerful. And I know when we're talking about most of our FPO division, for many of our events, you talk about Catrina, you talk about Paige Pierce, you talk about Jennifer Allen, but then to have Eveliina show up and prove that she throws as far or even farther than some of those other players, it's great to see her showing off her skills. And I know we've discussed how coming out to the golf course here maybe allows for her to exploit some of those skills a little bit more and use that distance that she has. And here we have Catrina, who's again essentially matched her on this drive.
I think it's interesting. Eveliina's highest rated round for her career was a 10:28 round at the Memorial, and her second highest, which turns out to be the 9th highest rated round ever thrown in the Open's women's division, is her 10:25 rated opening round yesterday, both in the US. I don't know how the ratings work.
Well,
they're working for her in the US, that's for
they
sure.
They sure are. And if she moves here, I think we're going to see yet another contender every single weekend. Great approach shot there by Catrina, as she also puts herself inside 10 feet.
She's currently 955 rated, Eveliina. Everybody always talks about who will be the first 1,000 rated woman, and she does not have very many events with low ratings. So it just makes you wonder if she did tour here, if she was financially able to come here, stay here, and tour here, which would be very difficult for an FPO competitor, I imagine, how her rating may change.
Well, and I know someone that may be able to experience a little bit of that. Cassie Sweeten from Australia, I believe, will be coming here for an extended tour and for upwards of over a month. And we'll see how that might affect. Of course, there's plenty of golf being played in Australia. However, when you come and you play on the bigger stages with our top-rated women, we see how that might impact your overall rating. And if we talk about ratings too much, we'll get Chuck Kennedy on the board. It's like saying Beetlejuice. You say his name 3 times, and he'll show up and give us usually some very insightful answers, as we see Eveliina not able to capitalize on the birdie putt. I'd like to thank Ace Run Productions in the Super Chat. Thank you so much for contributing and being part of our broadcast. Not only do we invite everyone to join us in terms of the live chat, you can interact and talk hopefully about disc golf related things and follow along and be part of our overall disc golf community. Thank you to all of you, including our gracious Super Chatters. And Erika.
Another great putt from Erika.
She seems so dialed in, and I go back to her statement that she told me about yesterday. She said she just really believed in herself, and today I feel like she's following suit and playing really, really well, very confident. And Catrina, without a par here today, she has 6 birdies and the bogey. We're through hole 7. We'll be back in a moment.
Disc golf is a relatively young sport, but its popularity makes it one of the fastest growing pastimes in the world. The PDGA is a not-for-profit, worldwide player organization dedicated to promoting the sport. Like a long drive off the tee, disc golf is soaring. So don't just be a witness to disc golf's explosive growth, be a part of it. Join the PDGA.
First of all, that man who was just throwing that disc was super handsome. So,
Awkward.
okay, so hole 8 is a 290-foot par 3. This is the second change these competitors will see to this course, and it's essentially just a slight extension of the old hole 7. It is still significantly uphill, but the green will come to rest close to 2 hazard bunkers instead of 1. So, I guess I could just say that again.
Yes, we're just recapping hole 7 thanks to our producer Johnny V. But if we wanted to take a look at hole 8 thanks to Central Coast and Hannah, 292 feet uphill.
I'm reading a previously put together hole preview.
Don't tell them that wasn't on the fly.
I'm not looking. Okay, sorry. This is the second change these competitors will see to this course. Like I said, it's just an old hole 7, a little bit extended with a few more hazard bunkers instead of 1. Again, if your disc lands in a hazard, it plays OB. You receive an OB penalty, but you get to take it from where it lies. Nailed it.
Smooth as silk. Here we go. We're on hole 8 along with Catrina Allen on the tee. Catrina has closed the gap to just 3 strokes between her and Eveliina.
This low ceiling shot's really going to test the competitors, but I suspect Catrina will be able to get her disc up, and she does. Looks like somewhere in between circle 1 and circle 2. I'm sorry, it's hard to tell from my screen, but either way, she'll have a great look for birdie. Erika with a really smooth drive. Not much movement from the discs as they make their way towards the basket. Not much of a skip. You have to wonder as the tournament goes on, as people are trampling the green, as spectators and fans and players are walking all over the place, will that change? Eveliina with a great drive as well, just barely getting the tree and slowing down the rotations of her disc, so comes out somewhere in circle 2.
We hear a little bit of the wind that's out there. It doesn't seem like it's affected anything, we'll say, on a short putt, or, we haven't seen too much movement in terms of the drives, but we are hearing it.
I have to wonder if that's why they're throwing their discs so significantly low. Any type of wind coming down that hill is going to lift their discs up into that tree. I'm thinking maybe Valerie tried to correct what Eveliina had done as a mistake on her drive.
Nice shot. Was that a Raider? Yep. Good little bit of turn and then a nice strong fade. Hey man, I've been meaning to talk to you about your pre-shot routine. It's a bit excessive, don't you think?
You think so?
Yeah, I mean, in a tournament you only get 30 seconds.
Wait, really?
Yeah, really.
Oh. That bird just razzed me. I gotta restart.
Welcome back. And oh no, Valerie making the mistake. It looked like it was landing on the grass, but then took a reverse skip or roll and finds herself in the hazard. She's relatively close to the basket. We'll see if she can maybe still save that for her, what would be a bogey 4.
this is a perfect example of how a simple miscalculation or a mistake can set you back from the field that's charging on a course like this. She'll now be putting for bogey from inside the bunker and giving up 1, maybe 2, maybe even 3, depending on her putt, strokes to the rest of the field just on one hole. And I know there's a lot of golf left. I know this is a marathon and not a sprint, as we said earlier, but these are the situations that Valerie really has to hone in and trust herself as a competitor and just let things go. Let it fuel her, not cause her to fail.
And you see the move there by Catrina, not going for the birdie really at all. I'm sure she's thinking about that OB hazard behind the basket and just laying it up. And she's going to have a really short tap in to walk away with the par. And it will, in fact, be her first par of the day. Erika could take the honors here with a birdie.
Again, the rope and white paint is ball golf only, so Erika's not flirting with any type of OB here. Wow,
Yeah.
what a great putt. Erika.
Erika taking the birdie, a solid putt right into the center of the chains, gives it the fist pump.
Really
and she
incredible.
is feeling
from
it
her.
today.
Yeah, she is. At Ledgestone, she was 26th out of 44 competitors with no rounds above her rating. And now here she is just managing herself so well, learning from all of her mistakes and really just putting into practice everything she has, all of the goals she has set for herself.
And a great putt to save the bogey there by Valerie.
Great putt from Eveliina.
Also worth noting, Valerie and Eveliina, Team Innova sponsored competitors, and our replay sponsor, Mike Cousins up at Sandy Point Resort and Disc Golf Ranch, and Innova ambassador. So thank you guys all for the support here on the broadcast. Let's take a look at hole 9.
Hole 9 is a 535-foot par 4. There are 2 lines players can take. There is a low ceiling route on the left, or for forehands or lefties, and a low ceiling route on the right that opens up once you get past the trees. Depending how far you can get your drive down the fairway, you should have a simple upshot across an OB pond for the birdie 3. I know this looks like a change. If the basket is in fact, on the other side of the pond and mounted. I know when I played here a year or so ago, the basket was much closer. It was on this side of the pond and not the other side. So it'll be interesting to see how these women are able to play this hole. Just like anything out here on this course, getting off the tee seems to be the most important part of the game. And then being able to manage yourself during the upshot and putt is also exactly what it takes.
Looks like Japan's own Manabu in part of the drone flyover as he's checking out the basket. I feel like this hole is almost a duplicate copy of what we just saw a few holes ago. I think that's hole 7. That it feels like if you've played one of the holes, this one feels eerily similar to that one. Of course, a little bit more danger, having that pond just in front of the basket. And then they've elevated the basket to add to the difficulty, but it is a very, very similar hole, throwing slightly downhill. You're hopefully going to get a good clean tee shot and then throw over to a, just to approach next to the basket and hopefully walk away with a birdie. And I know we've been maybe a little lacking. I'll blame myself on this. If we look at some of the statistics on the course that we find out there on UDisc, we can actually see how difficult or easy any of the holes are playing out here today. So when I'm looking at hole number 9, this is coming in as the 9th most difficult. So it's right in the middle of the field in terms of how the players are going after it today. 22% of the field have been below par. 31% of the field have been above par, with 47% being right in the middle. So a very evenly spaced out card, or hole, I should say.
Oh, that was not a drive. That was an upshot. That makes a lot more sense. Okay, sorry about that.
Looks like we have rejoined the chase card. Sounds like bonus coverage to me. And Sarah getting caught up in the tree directly in front of her. It looks like certainly a little miscue by her. I know we've been talking about her quite a bit. I'm going to take a look at the scores again, as Sarah did take a bogey on the previous hole. So that is her first and only blemish on the scorecard. Hole number 8, she had taken the bogey 4. She still sits 3 down for the round through these first 8 holes.
Speaking of Sarah's, on hole 6, the first par 5 of the round, and the par 5 that Catrina and Eveliina missed, we've seen Sarah Holcomb and Paige Pierce, Henna Blomroos, and I believe that just about does it for this field. Card the eagle on that hole, which is just incredible. Really, really awesome for them. Henna is normally touring with Eveliina. They're best friends, competitors, and they were teammates at this 2019 President's Cup. But she got off to a slow start yesterday. I suspect we will see her back at the top shortly after today. She's really putting in a really good round today, -6 through 11. Again, 1 bogey on the day, but an eagle to clean that up for her. So.
And here's Sarah throwing her 3rd shot. As we were just talking about how clean of a scorecard Sarah has had, and she needs to get that up and over right next to the basket.
It's a great
no
play.
problems there. We have to talk about Erika, who has now carded 5 consecutive birdies on holes 4 through 8. So very, very impressive. She also carded the birdie on 2. So she's sitting currently at 6 under overall, but 5 under for the round, and just an incredible start. Sarah Holcomb, who you just mentioned a moment ago, getting the eagle back on hole number 6. Sarah Holcomb is 4 under overall and 6 under for the round. She has still a clean scorecard, and we can see there on the board that Sarah Holcomb has moved up now 6 spots. As our 2012 world champion is now moving up on the leaderboard. Very impressive to see. Paige Pierce continues to move up on the leaderboard as well. She is up 4 spots, and she is still in that tie for 5th. So we're going to see so much compression, I think, today, because so many of our women are going to shoot really hot scores. The question is, will it be 8 or 9 or 11 or whatever the hot scores are that are going to come in from the day? And you're going to see, I think, our top-level competitors really pull away from our mid or maybe our struggling competitors.
I agree. I think this course really gives competitors the opportunity to birdie a ton, and that's what's causing all this movement, just like you said. The interesting thing to note is a lot of the touring pros want to compete at Northwood more. They want to finish the tournament at Northwood. They love the idea of hitting the tight gaps and shaping shots and watching a disc fly through the fairways full of woods. And I think it's just because if you can do that, you have a big advantage. But there's also something very entertaining and exciting about watching these women destroy these holes and just go nuts with birdies. And they're not all simple. You know, they're not super long distances, some of these birdieable holes, but there's so much OB and there's so many bunkers and sand traps and things to avoid that when you take into consideration everything and then fight through your nerves and the aura that surrounds the World Championships, you know, it really is it really is incredible. I'm like choking on all of my words today, but Thanks for bearing with me.
I know, I follow you. Well, I mean, to be fair, sometimes one of the criticisms that we hear when people are talking about, which divisions they prefer or not to watch, they say that things maybe aren't as exciting. And I will definitely be able to point them to this video saying that this is exactly what we're looking for.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
So many women rising to the occasion here with plentiful birdies as we're moving down the fairway here on hole 9. We'll be back in a moment.
Poison ivy's itchy rash ruins the best day outdoors. Zanfel gives immediate relief, washes away the toxin, stops the horrific itch. Safe for kids and pets. No downtime. Got poison ivy? Get Zanfel. It works.
See Catrina Allen's upshot here. She's still somewhat far away from the pond. She's going to have quite a time crossing it with her upshot to card the par 4, making it a little bit more difficult on herself. But she's been having quite a year. 19 events this year, 8 wins. Like I said earlier, 3 consecutive wins in a row made it feel like she would be our only contender for this World Championships. She won 2 NTs and an A-tier in a row not too long ago, and she only has 1 finish outside of the top 3 so far for this year. That's just an incredible accomplishment for her so far this year. But will it be enough?
Well, we invite everyone to join us, or rejoin us, should I say, in approximately 47 or 46 and a half hours. We'll be back here at sunset as we bring you the round on Friday morning. We'll be again with the FPO lead card, and then we'll also come back Saturday morning to give you the FPO lead card when our champion will be crowned. On Saturday afternoon, we will also then head over to Eureka, where we will stream a second round of the day in the MPO final round lead card. And here's Erika, not really trying to bite off any more than she should. I really like that play. Sometimes when you get and you're hovering around in or out of position, you might get aggressive and think, well, I'm playing well, my confidence is up, I'm going to go for that, that hero shot. And Erika, I felt like, just played that very consistently, very conservatively, and she'll be able to pitch over and hopefully still just walk away with the par. And I don't want to say should just be protecting the great round she has going. I'd like to see her continue to attack, but I think that was the perfect play.
Valerie just barely hitting those trees, slowing down her disc just enough. Unfortunately, she has landed OB and will need to go from where the disc was last in bounds.
And a clarification there, you see the orange line that's out there. That's a really nice addition to something that they've done this year. Sometimes or anytime you're playing around water, it can be tough to determine where the water's edge really begins, where it comes into play and where it doesn't, as Catrina's thrown just past the basket. And having that orange line as the official out of bounds line, I think can really eliminate so much of that controversy as to, well, is it dry? Is the disc, inbounds? Is it out of bounds? So going with the paint in this case, in this particular situation, I think is a really, really great idea that they've implemented.
It's helpful because these women have not been strangers to controversy this year. We've seen lots.
I haven't heard anything about that. What?
And lots of controversial calls and situations, and honestly, it gives us more content, so, but it definitely helps with the camaraderie on the card when you don't have to make the hard decisions all the time.
And Eveliina with a very effective approach shot up and over the basket. Now, one of the things that they'll have to talk about when they're going to move over And maybe we can listen in, actually. I'll be quiet. They will have to discuss whether or not it hit on the other side, and it doesn't look like they're lining up as such. And okay, I like this call. I feel like that is the right call. If it would have hit on the other side and found any part of the inbounds side and then rolled back into the water, she would be able to take it from there. But as we could see from the camera, it did not look like it hit the other side and found inbounds whatsoever. So the right call, I believe, is being made here. This is exactly as it should be played.
Valerie pulling out her Nova, popular approach putter, famous for its overmold design, which is the two-piece molding process used to create the disc. We're still seeing Eveliina and Catrina at the top, but now Erika has tied Catrina, which is just unbelievable. I mean, Erika is a great competitor, as we've seen. She's proven herself, but rated only 912. Catrina's rating is 974. That means her average golf game for any given weekend is about 970 golf, whereas Erika's lately has been 912. That's a big difference in between competitors.
Yeah, and depending on the course they're playing, for anyone at home, that on average, roughly every 10 ratings points usually means about 1 stroke per 18 holes of golf. So on average, if they were to go out and play, you would find that Catrina would likely best Erika by roughly 6 holes or 6 strokes per round. And so to see them tied in the early going here, Erika just really playing great golf. And unfortunately, I think we're going to see Erika walk away with a bogey, and Catrina misses that putt to the elevated basket. But yeah, it's a battle, and Erika's off to just such a great start here at the World Championships.
Seems like Catrina continues to struggle with her circle one putting. Maybe yesterday putted twice in the circle 6 times. That would have tied her had she made all of them with Eveliina, who did not miss a single putt. Today, again, as I said, we see Kat struggling a bit with her circle one putting, but she's a tough competitor. She knows what she has to do to win. She's been here before several times. She's got lots of golf left, and I suspect we'll see her working on all of these, the ins and outs of her games, and just fine-tuning everything.
Here's Dixon Jowers from the course.
All right, done with the front 9 out here at Sunset Hills. And while Catrina and Evie and Erika are kind of having some good rounds, Valerie's struggling a little bit. The last couple of holes getting to her with some throws going over the wrong lines. Now, she's got somebody on her bag, and her little sister Alexis. You might recognize that name. She's the 2018 Amateur Women's World Champion. So that's a pretty good person to have right next to you. Not only is she a great golfer, she's her sister. Her parents are out here too, speaking with them. She said the parents said they compete at everything. Disc golf, they do CrossFit together. They try to see who can do more reps. I have seen Alexis give her the thumbs up on a bad shot and be like, "You got this, it's okay." And I've also seen her give her that look of like, "Hey, you're better than this. Cut that stuff out." It seems to be working. They've got a great rapport. Hopefully, she can get her in the right spirit heading into the back 9 so that she can get some birdies and get right back up here with the competitors on her own card.
And Dixon Jowers with some of the insight, also some of the behind the scenes. It's great to hear what the camaraderie is like, not only with all of the players, but specifically that caddy and player relationship. I don't know if you're going to challenge me to any CrossFit challenges here in the booth, but I'm game.
Cool.
So
yeah, I can't wait.
Nonetheless, thank you so much.
We'll probably do that on the next commercial break.
That's a good idea. We are going to head into the back 9, and we'll talk a little bit about what the scores are as we're seeing Eveliina, who had the only hiccup of her round, was on hole number 2. She's been very clean since then on her scorecard. Both Catrina and Erika, you just mentioned how they were tied a few moments ago. They remain tied, both taking the bogey there on hole number 9.
And separating themselves again from Eveliina by 1 stroke. They're now par 4.
They are now 4 behind and still charging is Sarah Hokum, who had birdied 9 and 10, took a par on 11, and Sarah Hokum is dialed in today. She is 6 under. She has the hottest round going for all of the FPO division right now.
Hole 10 is a 301-foot par 3. The 301 is very important, apparently. Because of the Guardian tree on the right, this hole sets up well for a forehand. But because it doesn't have many, maybe what some might call iron leaves, or it's just not a very sturdy tree, players may opt to take the backhand route and throw a stable driver crashing through the Guardian tree and onto the green. I believe at the Ledgestone that was Catrina's play, so looks like she might be lining up the same. It's always important to remember for these competitors as they approach the basket, they don't have to land underneath it. They just have to get somewhere in the circle to give themselves an opportunity for birdie. It's a fine shot from Valerie. Perhaps not the distance she wanted, but we'll see how they fare.
We'll be back in a moment.
For the dreamers, the planners, thrill seekers, and chill seekers. For the adventurous, the curious, the creative, and the passionate. For the young and the young at heart. For her, for him, for everyone.
Star Wombat 3. This is a new addition to Garrett Gurthie's bag. This is the most utilizable disc that you can make do whatever you want. So with the hyzer line low, it'll hold the hyzer. If I throw it with a little hyzer, throw a little high, pops up straight and holds the line straight. I throw it for backhand about 60-70% and let it go about 380, 400. I'm gonna be getting a bunch of birdies with this at the World Championships this year.
And although Valerie was short, she gives it a really good run, just a bit low on the left side of the basket.
You notice to the right of Eveliina, there is some maintenance supplies. Anytime a player crashes into those supplies or has a lie somewhere in there, they may take up to a meter of relief. Eveliina with the missed putt for birdie, leaving the door open maybe for Kat to capitalize here and get another stroke on her.
Catrina taking an extra moment to check the wind. And her effort is high and off the top of the basket as she's putting slightly downhill. And now Erika could take the outright second place position with this putt.
And you have to wonder if a player like Erika is feeling this. This would seemingly be her biggest tournament, biggest stage. And from what I read this morning, first time she's being filmed. So, wow, amazing.
Yes.
Nerves of steel, this one.
And who's got time for pars? Not Erika.
No, absolutely not. Not since hole 1, for sure.
And Erika is just 3 strokes off of the lead here at the World Championships as Eveliina taps in for her par. And one, you have to think, could someone succumb to some pressure of being here and in this position? And Erika saying, I don't even hear that We're moving on. Let's take a look at hole 11.
This is a tricky hole, hole 11. It's good to be walking into it with some confidence. It's a 393-foot par 3. This hole plays mostly downhill, and the one only true obstacle off the tee is this OB pond to the right. So most of these women will be throwing something overstable on a flex line that will hyzer out away from the water. I mean, it's really straightforward. Obviously, any golf green that you see is going to be out of bounds. Any bunkers that you see will be out of bounds.
I think more likely, yeah, seeing that pond off to the right is the thing that looms the most. Now, here's where a little bit of distance can give you a disadvantage, and you can find that trouble if you push too hard, because it does play downhill, and I've seen plenty of shots by women in our FPO field just hold on to it a little bit too long and then find that OB pond on that right side.
Yeah, like I said, you want to hyzer out away from the water, but because the basket's near the water, you still want to land somewhere in the circle, giving yourself the best opportunity at birdie. Some hole previews are more graceful than others.
Not all of them, though, provided thankfully by Central Coast Disc Golf. I know they're out there hustling around, giving multiple cards of coverage for all of us to view in a post-production format. So Ian and the entire team, thank you over there at Central Coast Disc Golf. Here's Erika.
I believe this is Erika's first box of the day. First time she'll take the box today over the other competitors, if I've been paying attention correctly.
And I love the angle here that just has to finish as it filters toward the basket, and she is going to be happy with that. She gives a little shrug of her shoulders in our other angle, but she should be happy with that. Now, coming up short and then being in the position that she's in, she'll have a slightly uphill putt. I think she'll just have to really be conscious of, am I running at this and risking a potential roll away, or do you want to just lay it up and put it right next to the basket and walk away with a 3? Before I get to the statistics found on UDisc, I'm going to assume that we've seen plenty of 3s out here on hole number 11. I'm going to go see if if my intuition is correct there.
Catrina with a great drive off the tee, just needs to hyzer in, and she does. Excellent shot and seemingly simple birdie putt ahead of her.
Hole 11 is playing as the 11th most difficult, averaging 3.05, 86% of the field, a 3. We'll see if they can lower those averages as we move to the green. We'll be back in a moment. Welcome back, everyone. Terry Miller, the Disc Golf Guy, alongside Hannah Macbeth, and we're here checking out the action taking place on hole number 11. I know once they complete hole 11, they move back closer to the clubhouse, so there'll be a little bit of a transition and a walk. And now this seems a little, well, we'll listen in here.
What is this, 11? Yeah. Tall grass is OB. Yeah, it's just OB. Okay. Thank you.
Erika getting confirmation that she is in fact out of bounds.
So right here we see a white painted line, and then you see kind of like a pink or orange hued painted line. Any pink or orange paint references disc golf markings, so it references OB. Any white paint is for ball golf only. In this case, it appears we're seeing both.
And some may ask, why would there be such a hazard or an OB territory here? I'm guessing that all of the tournament... Oh, wow! Valerie saves the par on our Sandy Point replay from way downtown.
Wow, incredible from Valerie. This young competitor is being tested, and this young competitor is being tested in more ways than one, and it's really exciting to see her excel in moments like this.
And Evelina's putt lands just left of the basket. What I was about to say, though, is some may say that they're not a big fan of this out-of-bounds area being where it is, and I would say this was a way for the designers to challenge this hole, as it so frequently would be just a par, because we're seeing women that come up short, maybe off their mark a little bit, and then have a pitch up and then just simply walk away with the 3. So that's the reasoning that we're seeing that new OB territory implemented since Ledgestone. And Catrina did not look confident with that putting stroke. And slightly dejected. We're going to move over to hole number 12. We've got a few little bonus assets for you.
It feels great. I've put a lot of time and effort into really dialing in my putt. A lot of the time it comes down to the putting green, and I think it's the most important part of anybody's game. Just feels really good to have all of my hard work sort of validated by this world title. My putter of choice is the Moonshine Prime Deputies. I've been putting with them for about 2 years now, and they've just been such a integral part of my game. Having won this title, it's going to give me the confidence going into this week on every putting green, whether it's a 15-footer or a 45-footer. It's already in the basket in my mind, and that's sort of how I've approached putting for about the last year anyway. I think it really helps sort of trick the mind, and that's kind of what you need to do when you're on the putting green. You can't think about what's behind the basket or any of that. It's got to be in the basket already before you putt, and that's what I'm gonna tell myself.
SmashBoxxTV would like to thank the following sponsors: the PDGA, Infinite Discs, Discraft, the DGA, Prodigy Discs, the City of Peoria, and all of these other generous sponsors.
Introducing TrueDisc, an innovative new scorekeeping app for your smartphone. TrueDisc ensures that you get the most accurate data possible at all times. Not sure if you walked a little bit too far when you measured your last throw? TrueDisc stamps every misrepresented throw with our trademarked Internet Distance Badge before you can share it to social media. Buy TrueDisc in the App Store or Google Play for just 4 easy payments of $19.99 plus shipping and handling. But wait, there's more! Call in the next 20 minutes and upgrade to TrueDisc Pro for free. TrueDisc Pro allows you to get honest advice from the AI Pro of your choice.
Hey, Germ, think I can make it over the pond?
Yeah, sure, Simon. Go for it.
I'm Andrew.
You know what? Go for it, but go for it with a Big Germ Thunderbird. That way you can buy another one after you throw this in the water.
Paige, should I throw a putter or a mid-range here?
So what is going to give me the most confidence to hit the gap? Will it be the soft beat of a putter? Will it be the sharper edge of a mid-range? Everyone was cheering Mugs and Smugs. Man, it was so awesome. One of the best moments of my life.
Paige, I'm gonna go ahead and throw.
Hey, Eric, should I throw a felon here?
Felons are awesome!
Well, yeah, but I mean, is it the right disc for the shot?
Felons are awesome!
All right! Hannah, what did I get there?
You got a 7, Dave.
Put me down for a 5.
I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.
Go to udisc.com and use the code TrueDisc to get the real UDisc Pro free for 1 month.
Welcome back, everyone. We have caught up with what I believe is our third card, and Sarah Holcomb had just thrown a moment ago. And this is Paige Pierce on the tee.
Paige Pierce off to a slow start today, carding a birdie and 2 bogeys in a row.
Callie McMorran, sorry. We're getting plenty of chatter coming in from the production. It sounds as if there's been a little confusion and challenge on this tee, so lots of conversation going on in the background for us as well.
Callie McMorran coming off of a sponsor switch weeks ago.
Yeah,
playing an A tier, and then now the major of the Professional Disc Golf World Championships with a completely brand new bag. She switched from dynamic discs to Innova in the middle of the year. Something, have you ever seen that before? I've certainly never have.
I feel like we've seen a few switches at one time or another. I think back to someone like Nico LaCastro, who has had a number of sponsors throughout the years. I'm guessing that he is at least during one of those sponsorship agreements that we've seen him maybe move mid-season, but he's the first one that maybe comes to mind. But yeah, very incredible to see that, because I think back to Idlewild just a few weeks ago when that really was announced and that was the thing.
That was her first
tournament.
Yeah,
she essentially had one bag. Amazing. And then the next day went out and competed, and she wanted to make we'll say cold turkey. She wanted to make the switch fully all in one day or one event right away, and just say, I'm not gonna transition over. I'm just gonna go from one set of discs to another set of discs. And she played out that way as she was competing at the Idlewild event. So we're gonna take a quick look at the scores. Eveliina still out in front. Again, I think her lead has been cut in half. She started the day with a 6-stroke lead. She's now down to the 3-stroke lead. But Erika Stinchcomb has to be, so far, in my opinion, the biggest story of what we're seeing happening in the FPO division. She is playing very solid. She clearly has not let any form of nerves get her today, as she's out here having a very, very impressive round. Sarah Holcomb moving herself up the leaderboard as she sits at 4 under overall. And I mentioned it a few holes ago, compression. Things are tightening up at the top as some of these women are taking advantage of all the birdie opportunities we find out on the course.
One of the things that I just realized was Eveliina's circle 1 putting is 40% today. Catrina Allen not too far behind that with 25% circle 1 putting. Mind you, that does not count tap-ins. So if you're watching the coverage and you've seen Eveliina make a 10 or 5 or 11 footer, those are not counted towards her average. It's everything else inside the circle that she's either making or missing. Erika, on the other hand, is 75% circle 1 putting today, which is really close to what she was doing yesterday at 88%, and we still have several holes left to go to improve her her round. So it's just interesting to see the effects that putting can have at a course as seemingly simple as this. There's not as many challenges. You know, the fairways are open. You have a lot more opportunities for different shots. If you're a lefty, if you throw forehand, all those things. But I mean, other than that, you have to make it there. And then once you make it there, you can make your putt.
Well, and we're seeing specifically on hole 12, this is coming in as the second most difficult hole on the course. You have a very difficult tee shot, but then everywhere on this putting green in particular can provide challenge because it's sloped down and then it slopes away to a water's edge. And then there's also a few trees that are in your way. This I can see as playing as the second most difficult. I can certainly see why. 6% of our field have carded birdies. In fact, that's just 2 of our players, 2 of them being Lydia Lyons and Madison Walker. Here we are with Paige Pierce with the uphill putt. And that's got to sit. Okay, it does.
The aggressive play for this hole is obviously to just attack the basket, as you said, test the water or bail left. Those are your 2 choices. So, you know, even though we've had several retees here due to lost discs, and now we have some PDGA officials spotting for us, this hole is playing very, very difficultly. Like you just said, only 2 birdies on the day so far, and one of them is from a player that's dominantly forehand, and I believe Lydia has a strong forehand as well. When you play the forehand, it makes the green a lot more challenging, but it takes out the OB, so it's really, like I said, attack the basket or bail left. Those are your options. It's a great putt from Callie there.
And we see by the lower bar that's been updated. Wow, very impressive over there in the switching studios in Milwaukee that we have our 3rd card lower bar, and Jessica Weiss having a little bit of a struggle out here today as she now sits +4 and has been distanced by the rest of her card mates, including Callie McMorran.
One person who's still lurking in the shadows is Kristen Tatar. She's kept herself at -3 on the round, -3 for the tournament. She shot even at Northwood Blues yesterday. 92% fairway hits, 100% scramble. So for those of you who may not know, or for those listening at home, or for my mom who's probably watching right now, scramble is when you get off the fairway, whether you're OB or you're just deep in the woods or you're off the fairway and you still manage to save your par. Kristen has carded only 3 birdies on the day, no bogeys, and the rest are pars. 71% circle 1 putting, 0% circle 2 putting. So you have to wonder if, as we see Kristen taking the tee pad right now, if that has something to do with the lack of birdies. She's representing Parnu, Estonia, and I believe this is her 2nd World Championships. She also represents Latitude 64. Again, Kristen just challenging, throwing a very aggressive play. Amazing. What an amazing shot by Kristen.
One thing that I noticed in filming not only Kristen last year when she made a visit to the U.S., but then also in Finland a few weeks ago, she has that fortunate advantage of being able to throw a mid when a lot of other players she's competing alongside are throwing either fairway drivers or sharp rimmed, high speed drivers. Kristen has so much power and she is so smooth and graceful with her throw that she can often club down to a mid range and play for the control. So very impressive. I believe that's what we just saw here on hole 12. Very few women in the field will be throwing a mid range on this hole, but Kristen does so very nicely.
The other part about Kristen's game, I think that suits her, is she's a very strong mental competitor. As I said, she's from Estonia. She's been given all the pomp and circumstance from her country, given several awards for being Female Athlete of the Year, etc. And she still comes out and plays every tournament like it's just the same. It doesn't matter if it's a local C tier or the World Championship. She's going into it with the same amount of heart and drive every single time. And I think that's exactly what's keeping her up in 5th place and not falling behind. You know, these missed putts and these missed opportunities, if they weigh on you, they will weigh you down eventually. There's a lot of golf out here this week, so it's exciting to see these maybe seasoned pros kind of stay at the top for those reasons.
Well, as you're talking about, a lot of our seasoned pros know it's a long week, and they're not going to stress over a really good round or a really bad round or maybe a struggle or anything of that nature. I think everyone in disc golf that follows disc golf at all would be surprised if you told them yesterday, well, you know, Paige Pierce is sitting in 9th place and had the day that she did, and she would be on the 3rd card of all places. However, when talked to Paige last night, I don't want to say she was aloof, but she wasn't stressed. She wasn't worried. She said the exact same thing. It's a long week of golf. I've got plenty of time to go out and perform the way that I'm used to playing. And so I love seeing and hearing that confidence. For her, she's hoping that if she's going to have an off day, that was her one and only off day.
That's right.
And she'll continue to make a charge. And she's doing just that here during the round today. The question is, if she shoots a solid round, a 6, 7, 8, 9 under, is she going to make up much ground? And a lot of her fellow competitors are saying, no, we're going to shoot really well today as well.
Yes, yeah, that's absolutely true. And this is a 5-round tournament. Obviously, we're halfway through the second round, or just into the halfway through the second round. And we have a lot of golf left. I know I keep saying that, but it's true. There's a lot more opportunities for mistakes, and there's a lot more opportunities for successes. And Paige is no stranger to coming back and winning at this event. This particular event, she came back and won and gained 4 strokes on Cat for the round to beat her by 2. You know, made a huge putt for the birdie on hole 18 when all she had to do was lay up and par for the win. She loves the excitement. She thrives. And in the interview with her at the pro panel, she said, I love the excitement. I love everything about the competitions, and I study my competitors. I learn what they're doing. I understand them. I try to mimic the good things that they're doing, and I try to think through mentally the bad things. And so she wants this world title. She wants to be a 5-time.
She does. And to follow that even a step further, when you talk about how much she studies, as she was telling us during that panel, she's even gone as far as actually creating an entire series of disc golf videos called Nice Line, where she finds herself watching what a competitor is doing in a difficult or a challenging lie or situation. And if someone has executed a shot that she was either applauding or appreciative of, she will break that down with the player and then release that as an entirely separate segment. And you can find that that Paige produces that piece, and it's called Nice Line. And there's Bjerkes off the top of the basket and getting a little bit of a acceleration even.
Paige Bjerkes saying in her interview that she has not had as much practice time. We all know, of course, most of us know she's getting married later this year, and so she's had some wedding must-dos. I believe she had a dress fitting a couple days before this tournament, so she only had about 2 to 3 practice days. Certainly not what she wanted, but that's the circumstances that she's working through. And Paige Pierce and Paige Bjerkes, it's funny, they both said in their interviews, everything's compartmentalized this week. Anything going on outside of the World Championships is on hold. It's all about this right now. And so we can see them fight through everything and just understand the emotional taxings of what they're going through.
A great birdie there by Kristen Tatar. Rebecca Cox is in for her birdie. She's had a very, very quiet day. And I know we talk about the importance of the birdies on this course as so many of them are being racked up. Rebecca Cox had a bogey on 4, a birdie on 6, and 10 pars. And with that, we've seen her actually drop as many as 8 spots. She has dropped from a tie for 5th into 13th place by shooting even par thus far today. We're back on the tee and live and ready to go with Catrina Allen.
Catrina making that aggressive play. Hyzering out and playing off of the green. What an excellent shot from Catrina. This hole has a severely sloping green. It's 383 feet, par 3. So you want to land exactly where she did, and your disc will hit and ideally roll towards the basket, giving you an even easier putt for birdie. Catrina with a seemingly tap-in putt here.
Throughout the years, I've seen this hole give our competitors so many troubles, like we just saw with Paige Bjerkes as it hit off the basket, the roll away to the water, the bush that has been apparently eating a few discs, which has caused the backup that we're here at. This is a very, very challenging hole for our competitors. Coming in as the second most difficult hole. We are seeing a safe indicator by PDGA Marshal Sean Sinclair. We were informed that that particular bush and that surrounding area has been eating a few discs and making it very difficult to locate them. And I believe a few spotters have then jumped out there to assist in the process, one being Sean.
Erika opted to, I'm not sure if she chose to, but she bailed out left, like I said, just hyzered out way earlier than she wanted to, and will be safe. I know there is a green up there that will test some competitors like Eveliina has just found, but Erika is safe as well as Eveliina.
And that is 100% layup territory for Eveliina. We'll see them on the green.
Bruce Willis was a ghost. Gwyneth Paltrow's head is in the box. Snape kills Dumbledore. Mrs. Bates was dead. Ross and Rachel end up together. Rosebud was the sled. Tyler Durden doesn't exist. Vader is Luke's father. Ned Stark is killed in Season 1. Miss Voorhees was the killer. Soylent Green is people. This is a public service announcement. There are no spoilers in sports. Watch live Disc Golf on SmashBoxxTV.
Welcome back. We are here just above the basket on hole number 12, and Erika's going to have a little bit of work to do. The number one thing she's contending with here, besides the fact that it's blind, but she has to be dealing with the sloped green.
Mm-hmm.
And to get a disc, to get all the way to the green, but then to sit down and not get up on edge and roll away, this is a very difficult shot. We'll see how Erika handles it.
That's a great play for this green. Maybe not as far as she wanted, but she'll have a downhill putt for par. A little bit of a tester putt for Erika, but according to her Circle 1 percentage, it should be just fine.
One thing that has been very common on this hole, anytime we see our competitors putting with that downhill slope, we see a lot of our players will actually drop to one knee because they're usually dealing with that low-hanging tree branch or that some kind of obstruction over there, and then also just getting a little bit more eye level with the basket. And I think that's another way to not put too much power into it is if you go to one knee because they know that the OB water looms behind them. So I'm going to call it right now. I think we're going to see a putt from a knee for Erika as she's putting downhill. And really not a surprise there by Eveliina. I think I mentioned that is layup zone for sure, as that is the smart play to walk away with here, hopefully with the par.
Good call, Terry.
How does that commercial go? I've seen a thing or two. Is that one of the insurance commercials? We are farmers. And Erika, not able to connect on that downhill putt. I would say normally I love the discipline there by Eveliina to lay that up, but I don't feel like there's even a remote chance that someone runs at it from where she was. And Catrina tapping in. We're going to head out back to the course, get some insights from Dixon Jowers.
So there on hole 12, we saw Catrina with the fantastic birdie. She was first to throw on the box, and she was feeling a little nervous ahead of time, knowing that there was a crosswind coming in. Even though that they had watched two other cards throw, she was worried about the lift. So as it started to lift, she kind of pulled in, got the roll. Good for her. Catrina sometimes feels like there's kind of a black cloud over her as far as the luck goes on the course. So that was a good one to get one to roll down right to the basket. What I've been kind of watching for is body language of the players, is how they handle what's going on. Eveliina is not having the round that she would hope, and she's a pretty straight-faced person, normally speaking. I wouldn't say that she's depressed, but she's just a little more somber than usual. Looking at other cards, Paige Bjerkes, your defending world champion, her shoulders are completely slumped forward. She tried to play this hole safe, ended up taking a 5. She's battling those demons right now of trying to fight through the course and doubting her shots. Erika, on the other hand, man, everything is fantastic. She's skipping around even after that. She missed that 20-ish, 25-footer downhill for the par right there. She still skipped over to her other one. She's feeling great. Some others not so much. Catrina is very focused right now, and I think she's got the best attitude as far as going forward in this tournament to do great here out at Sunset Hills today.
All right, well, some great insight talking about that body language that we're seeing from our competitors. And we know that the competitors that come out on top more often than not are the ones that can have a very short memory and then get past whatever it was, good or bad, and move on to the next hole or the next section of holes with some confidence in doing so. And sometimes body language says so much. So hopefully someone like Paige Bjerkes, who I see that she's struggling. She's had quite a few birdies, but also quite a few bogeys, and she sits just at even par. And today, even par is going to be a round that will hurt you. You need to be anywhere from that 5 to 10 under par if you want to maintain or make a move. And Paige Bjerkes really struggling out here today.
Hole 13 is a 280-foot par 3 that has an island green, which is blind from the tee pad. Most of these women, as you see, Kat, will hug the right side of the fairway with something that has a reliable fade, most likely a mid-range or a putter. Amazing shot from Catrina.
And a Sandy Point replay here on the drive. Catrina Allen dialed in.
A great shot from Valerie. This is Valerie's rookie year. She played 2 pro events in 2018, but did not accept cash until this year. Eveliina not hugging that right side.
Oh. So
Unfortunate OB. Erika taking the choosing to lay up, maybe just play the safe shot. Not sure if that's in her game plan or if it's just what she's decided to do because she's carded 2 bogeys in a row and wants to maybe get her mentality back in working order.
Zuka is now producing limited edition color choices. Zuka can add custom embroidery to the front and/or sides of the bag. Zuka is now producing limited edition color choices. Zuka can add custom embroidery to the front and/or sides of the bag.
I can throw this disc.
And very methodically dissecting this hole as Erika had laid up off the tee and then hits the pin on her approach shot. She'll have that easy, stress-free par on hole 13, but she's going to lose a stroke to Catrina. And we've seen over the last 3 holes now that Erika and Catrina have been separating from one another, with Catrina carding what should be back-to-back birdies on 12 and 13, and Erika, who's got 2 pars and a par and 2 bogeys in the last 3 holes. I feel like it was just a few moments ago we were talking about how they were tied, or Erika was in sole possession of second, and things have very much changed up since then. And Kristin Tattar still making her charge, 5 birdies and 0 bogeys here on the card. Sarah Hokom sitting with an eagle and 4 birdies and 0 bogeys.
Erika just finding the OB a little more often than I think she would like on this round. Kristin Tattar moving up 2 spots, finding a lot more birdies than she did in the front, on the back 9 than she had on the front 9.
And of this lead card, Catrina has more experience playing this course than any of the other women, as we watch Eveliina get up and quickly toss in. So if she is feeling good, she's feeling confident, and going into the last, we'll say, third of this course, and she is dialed, we could see Catrina make a very solid run and even, blow past Eveliina if she continues to play at the level she is. Again, her experience on this course outweighs any other competitor on this lead card. We're moving over to hole number 14. We're going to tighten things up just a little bit, and I believe we even have a new position since the Ledgestone.
Yeah, hole 14 is a 329-foot par 3. It's a pretty open tee shot with OB to the left and right of the fairway and 3 guardian trees by the basket. So we'll most likely see stable fairway drivers here because these women want to hit the shorter grass before the basket and skip up, giving themselves an inside the circle putt. We've seen a lot of movement. Anytime you play on a golf course, the grass is short, it's all different lengths, it's well manicured most of the time, and anytime you play on the golf course, the skips of the green can vary from day to day, from morning to afternoon. So they need to take that into consideration. Of course, it's been the same during their practice rounds, so they've been able to see that, but...
And I believe it's actually hole 15, the next hole that we'll see, where we're finding a newer pin position since the Ledgestone. But speaking of the green and the pin position on this hole, coming in low and underneath those branches, as you mentioned, skipping up to the basket is so crucial here if you're trying to park the shot. If you have something that resembles a high hyzer, it's probably going to get blocked by those trees, and we're going to see what they're going to do. But first, it looks like we've got Paige Pierce.
Paige Pierce for bogey, I believe, from circle 1.
Also, we're seeing Sarah Hokom. Sarah, that was for her par. As you mentioned, Pierce taking the bogey. Also, we'll take a look at Jessica Weiss. I know I mentioned earlier, it seems as if she's been struggling today. Jessica just not really finding the birdies that are out there and available to her. She has just 2 birdies on the day. She did just take a bogey there on hole 14, so she sits at +5 overall, and that's +3 on the day. So a very, very rough round here for Jessica Weiss. Here's Kristen Tatar.
That's an excellent shot again from Kristen. Maybe perhaps we're good luck for her because this is the second time in a row that she's had a good shot.
Or it could be that, you know, Sportswoman of the Year thing that she's got in her back pocket.
It's true, but again,
but we can take the credit. That's a
again-
Smashbox bump, Hannah. We'll claim that.
It is a pretty open tee shot. You see the tie OB to the left and right, so you do need to advance close to the basket in order to avoid that. And there are the guardian trees by the basket as well, but just like Kristen did, they want to hit the shorter grass with something like a fairway driver before the basket and just skip up. Give yourself a good inside the circle putt.
I love the angle here by Rebecca Cox. If that stables up and gets the skip, which unfortunately did not, but I did like the angle of release. We invite you guys to go out. Please like, share, subscribe. Most importantly, though, is that share button. Let everyone know you're watching live disc golf. If you want to interact with us on our chat board, we have that available here on YouTube. We're pushing nearly 4,000 viewers out here today. Those are some really good numbers for early in the week, and we're glad that you could join us. And Sarah's shot looks like it's turning over, pushing to that right side. She'll have a little bit of work to do. They're going to move down the fairway, and we're going to be back with you in a moment after a word from these sponsors.
When did you start putting with the guard?
Always putted with the guard.
Really?
Yeah, it's got a deep rim, nice glide. Who wouldn't want to putt with it?
When did you start wearing glasses?
I've always worn glasses.
Really?
Yes.
Like I don't even know you anymore.
We're rejoining our chase card. This is Sarah Gilpin coming just underneath. Oh, and a great kick. Sarah's left with just that. She started out really, really good today. She's been struggling as of late, if I take a quick look. And by struggling, I mean she just hasn't been birdieing. She did open the round with 4 birdies in the first 6 holes. She took a bogey on 8 and has then since then been parring.
Sarah Gilpin has been a PDGA member since 2016, playing 7 open women professional events this year. 4 of which have been main A tiers, so Disc Golf Pro Tour, Ledgestone Insurance Open, Disc Golf Pro Tour Idlewild. The Glassblown Open is an NT, and the Titan Open presented by Discraft. So no stranger to a big stage, but certainly not a seasoned veteran either. She's currently rated 923 out of Salonen, Iowa.
And even with the little extra leg kick, Rebecca Cox can't quite will that one into the basket. A good run, though. And Paige Bjerkes has currently dropped 7 positions as she, like I mentioned earlier, has struggled slightly. That's going to be a par for her here on hole 14. She is in a tie for 12th place along with Rebecca Cox and Haley King.
Rebecca Cox finishing 5th last year at the World Championships.
And Sarah will clean up for her par. And in just a moment, we're going to get back with our lead card here on the tee of hole 14.
There is a lot of movement happening out there, Terry.
Yeah, there is.
It's hard to control the excitement about the extra disc golf. Just because I haven't researched it, I don't normally look up every player in the event and their stats and their statistics to talk about them, and you know, it's hard to gauge the excitement about the players who are competing when they're not the lead card because I haven't done the work, is basically what I'm saying.
Well, and you're just speaking of,
but they're moving around so much more often than usual that's just insane. I mean, Catrina has now tied for the lead after the last hole with Eveliina, who started off with a 6-stroke lead. Kristen Tatar has taken solo 3rd, up 2 strokes on Erika, who's -4 for the tournament and 3 down for the round. Erika has dropped 2 spots. Sarah Holcomb, Callie McMorrin, Paige Pierce, Sarah Gilpin. All of these women have just seemingly come up after all of these holes, and it's not changing. It's not going to change anytime soon. It's going to keep, well, actually, I guess it is going to change soon.
Well,
you know what I'm saying.
A moment ago, we just watched Catrina Allen park hole 14 here. She is focused and she is dialed, and I've said it before, she knows this course well. She knows how to finish strong, and if she can do that, she may be an outright leader by the end of the day.
That's an
because right now she has all of the momentum.
And an excellent shot from Valerie, who's still seemingly fighting back after a few bad holes, managing to par her last 4 holes, and looking at a birdie attempt, the first birdie attempt in 7 holes.
And that looks left for Erika.
It looked, again, just as like a safe play.
Yeah.
Safe and controlled.
I feel like if I go take a look at the UDisc stats, I'm going to have to assume we see a lot of pars here on hole 14. Oh, and what seems to be a good kick for Eveliina. However, she's just a bit short. She'll be left with that for her birdie. We'll be back in a moment. Welcome back to the green of hole number 14. We're so glad you guys could join us today. Again, nearly 4,000 people from around the world tuned in and watching. If you'd like, go ahead and put it in the chat. We'd love to know where you're coming in from. Yesterday, we had such a great European representation for so many of you. We'd love to hear it. Put your name and state in the chat.
Let us know where you're from.
And I did take a quick look at the statistics on UDisc, and sure enough, 68% of our FPO field have taken a par 3 here on hole 14. I just feel like it's one of those holes that can be really difficult to attack, but you almost have to do something really bad to find the bogey. So 68% of the field walking away with the 3 here.
Eveliina carding her first circle 2 putt of the day. Great putt from Eveliina. That's going to put her 1 stroke ahead of Catrina for now.
And if we watch that back again, I think you could almost see Catrina clapping before it was even in the basket, or they knew right away from Catrina's vantage point that was a great putt by Eveliina.
Wow. Excellent putt from Valerie. The low branch, the circle's edge putt, just really staking her claim here today on the lead card. Even though she's made some mistakes, she says, you know what, I'm here, I'm ready to play, let's keep doing this.
Catrina with the closest to the pin drive. And as expected, so she adds yet more blue to the scorecard. Very impressive as she sits 7 under for the round and 8 under overall. Catrina Allen in the driver's seat, feeling good. We're going to move over to the relatively short hole number 15. Or we'll go to the really long, challenging hole 15 before I get ahead of myself on 16. So let's take a look at 15, Hannah.
Hole 15 is a 555-foot par 4. This is the third and final change these women will see on this course. The hole is a combination of old hole 14 and 15. It requires a very demanding tee shot with tight OB lines on the left and right. If they can execute a good tee shot, though, they should have a fairly short tunnel shot for birdie, and I'm really excited to see how it plays as a new hole. Normally, the basket is right around this corner. This is kind of a slow fly. This is kind of a slow flying. But anyways, normally the basket is right around this corner and sitting right underneath those guardian trees for hole 14. And then hole 15 was kind of a gimme birdie, like not a very good hole for a professional course. So they combine them, and now you take the fairways of both courses and put them into a really good par 4. I think Catrina sometimes can execute a roller on this hole. She's tried to do that to get around the turn, but should have as again, like I said, fairly short tunnel shot for birdie if you can get your drive out. I just need to talk slower maybe on this.
Well, I'll go ahead and say that this is probably the most significant change that we see on the course from Ledgestone to now in terms of, course adjustments.
Yeah, I mean, the only other 2 changes really were 7 and 8. 7 is a completely new hole, 8 being an extension of old hole 7. But I agree with you. I think this would be the most significant. And it's the first time that they really have to dial in a shot and hit a fairway. There's always been OB, there's always been hazards and things to avoid, but this is really the first time these competitors are going to really have to place something strategically somewhere.
Looks as if Catrina's standing on the tee, just waiting to make sure that the fairway is clear enough for her to throw. And we're now catching up in the fairway. We see Paige Bjerkes on the left side, and it looks like she's just going to be pitching out, and really all about that angle and the position you were just talking about a moment ago, Hannah, as if you do not make it out into the open, you may exhaust a stroke just to find the correct alleyway.
Yeah, and it's important to remember there are OB lines on the left and right. It appears Kristen Tatar has unfortunately found one of those OB lines. So it's really going to be difficult for her to have a good scramble percentage on this hole.
And this hole coming in as one of the most challenging holes on the course for our competitors out here at the Sunset Hills Golf Club. As we see on the board, just 3% birdies here on hole number 15 today.
It's a great forehand from Kristen, seemingly the only option she had. Luckily, she has that in her arsenal. We can see, you all cannot see, but we have another view of another camera in play here at the Worlds, and we could see the Mandujano sisters talking strategy for quite some time. I'd say it wasn't just a here's your line, what do you feel like throwing kind of situation like you'd normally see with caddies and their players, but they were really taking their time discussing this hole. So sometimes these backups can be a good thing. Other times it gives you a longer opportunity to think about your mistakes. But as we see there, they're taking the opportunity to talk about what successes they can find on the course.
Sarah, and I believe that's her husband, moving up the fairway, trying to get into position or out of position, I should say, after taking a look. And Paige Bjerkes finds one of the trees that helps frame the upper part of the fairway here. As noted on UDisc, there's been just a single birdie on this hole here today, and that has come from Dynamic Disc's own Missy Gannon.
Her first birdie of the day.
So I might as well make it on the toughest hole on the course.
Sure. That's very very typical of Missy, honestly.
There's a saying I think I need to put on a shirt that says it's never too late for a birdie. So whether that's hole 15 or wherever it might be, don't steal my ideas. Did I just say those all out? Oh no. That's going to be on a pin or a shirt by tomorrow.
It's going to be a disc
It's
golf
never
pin.
too late for a birdie, and Missy exemplifying just that.
Hannah Blomroos karting a -5 so far for the round, putting herself -1 total, which is unbelievable. She has 5 birdies, 1 eagle, and 2 bogeys, with holes 17 and 18 left to play. Paige Pierce seemingly dry this tournament. I mean, birdie, bogey, and then 2 birdies and an eagle. We found some hope, a couple pars, another birdie, and nothing since then but a bogey. So you've got to wonder what is going on with her. Is it just the OBs? Is it wind reads? Is she really just taking her time? But she's still in it, tied for 6th with Callie McMorrin, Valerie Mandujano, and Sarah Gilpin. And actually Hannah Blomroos, after hole 17, just carded the birdie.
I feel like the only player still without a single blemish or bogey on her scorecard is Sarah Holcomb. Kristen Tatar shared that until somewhat recently, and Kristen right now, well, still doesn't have the blemish on her scorecard, but I feel like she will by the time she completes this after throwing out of bounds. So here's
Catrina not opting for the roller, which is interesting. She didn't have success from the coverage that I saw at Ledgestone, so I guess it's not as surprising as I thought, but still a really good shot. Exactly where you want to be, just in the middle of the fairway and as far as possible.
And I'm almost at a loss for words. That was just an absolute misfire there by Eveliina. It looked like it was low and early out of her hand and burned it into the left side fairway, and she's going to be nowhere near making the turn, and she's going to have some work to do here.
But she is on the fairway, avoiding the OB, which after a mistake is important to be thankful for that.
We'll be back in a moment. Eveliina going to try and make the play out and around, and she ultimately does get the green flag, although I can't say that I saw it land myself, but she does get the green flag from one of our spotters.
It is strange, though, not seeing Valerie Jenkins here competing at this World Championships. I know she wasn't on tour. She's not on tour this year, and she was not on tour as much last year at all. What are your thoughts on that?
Funny you ask. Recently, I saw Valerie just a few days ago, I should say, out in Colorado. I was out there for the Rocky Mountain Women's Disc Golf Championships. Although Valerie wasn't there in a competitive role, she was there representing her brand, Bevel Craft Brewing, and they had done a collaboration beverage with the Four Noses Brewery out there in Colorado. As we're watching Valerie throw her shot, she gets a really good skip on that.
Shot from Valerie.
It was. Yeah, great
really
shot
incredible.
to find the center of the fairway there. So as I was saying, I did see Valerie, and she was there supporting the Rocky Mountain Women's event. But as so many people ask both her and her husband, Nate, where are you guys? When are we going to see you playing again? And in speaking to them, they said we are very focused. We are concentrating solely on our beer business, on their brewery that they're working on out in Bend, Oregon. And I think they're starting to get to a point where things are becoming a little bit more established, although they're still very early on in that career. But they're getting established, and I think we're going to find them back out playing and throwing disc competitively. Maybe they'll ease into it sometime in 2020. You are very right, though. Not seeing either of them at a World Championships for a second year in a row is unprecedented. They've been such staples at the Worlds, of course, winning all of their titles that they have. It's crazy not to see them here again, but they're focused on other things. And we just saw Erika with a really great shot that's going to put her just outside circle 1 and going to this new basket location that we're seeing here on hole 15.
Catrina just with an excellent, giving herself a great opportunity off the fairway. I mean, off her drive on the fairway.
Outside of being maybe just a little bit closer to the basket, the actual left to right positioning could not be better here for Catrina Allen. This is prime position. And what a great shot, coming up a little bit short. She would have loved a little bit more of a skip, but unfortunately the grass wasn't going to oblige. But a great shot there by Catrina Allen, and leaving herself inside 15 to 18 feet.
Being able to throw a controlled drive that way through a fairway with a disc, again, for the 15th time in a row that will hit and settle exactly where you need it to, is what puts her ahead of her competition. being able to do so when she's tied with Eveliina. You know, caught up to her, shooting -7, a really hot round, one of the hottest that we've seen for today, obviously. Sarah Hokum and Hannah Blomers coming in with the 6. But Catrina being able to handle all of this, able to stay composed, able to trust herself, have confidence amidst missed putts, amidst, you know, bogeys and unfortunate rolls and what have you. Really exactly where she needs to be mentally in order to continue to compete and battle for the title here at the World Championships.
That appears to be short. So, Hannah, I'm going to turn the question over to you, though, the one you had just asked me regarding Valerie. Lots of people have asked, you know, knowing that you're an FPO player, you've been out here and competing at tournaments, why is it that for the second year in a row here, at least, that you've stood down from competing here? Anything in particular? You can't just tell me you want to hang out with me all day.
So last year, I decided I would not, I really didn't compete. This is my first year on tour. I think I cashed in 2017 in Estonia, and so I turned pro then, and I've just been popping in and out of tournaments, most of them being majors, NTs, or A tiers because of who my travel partner is, and Paul Macbeth. But so last year, the opportunity came up for me to do commentary, and Worlds is such a big deal for our family because of Paul, and he's really, really striving for his 5-time world title every year. And so I'd always make it a point to just be his partner and everything, you know, to take care of everything else so he can focus on the course. Because just like these women have told us, everything else gets put on hold. Everything with your family, everything with your friends, every other thing has to get shut off mentally in order for you to compete as strong as possible. And so you know, we talked about me doing commentary last year and it worked out really well. And this year I wanted to come back. Honestly, the commentary for the women hasn't been as strong as I wanted it to be. It's still young, I think, live commentary in disc golf and storytelling and researching and knowing what partners to have. Wow, that was an amazing putt.
Yeah, Erika. Here's a Sandy Point replay for Erika.
This is amazing from Erika, yeah. But so the commentary, people are still trying to figure out who they partner well with, and I feel I partner well with you and that we could do a really incredible job just promoting these women this year. And so that's kind of where my heart was, and not so much as a competitor, but as a promoter.
Well, I
That's
know
a really
I echo.
long answer, but no one's surprised.
I will echo the thoughts as Eveliina makes her putt a solid putt. I will echo everyone else's sentiments out there. You are a very gracious co-host, and it's great to have you in the booth, providing your insights, putting up with me and Johnny V and the rest of the crew, and doing all the hard work that you put out and bring to the broadcast. And we very much appreciate it, as I know the rest of the world does as well. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Terry. No, but really, we wouldn't be here without you guys, so.
Oh, no. And in my other screen, as I know we're going to cut to Dixon in a moment, he even kind of shook his head as that one just slips out. Valerie with the unfortunate break there. Catrina Allen will be lining up her birdie to make it only the second woman in the FPO field to walk away with the birdie 3 here on hole 15, assuming she converts. Taking her time. And wow, Catrina Allen on fire. Let's see how Dixon is feeling about the action out on the course. Here we go. Let's hear from Dixon Jowers.
Well, just like that 5-shot lead that Eveliina had built up yesterday is now a 2-shot deficit based on the swing we just had here on hole 15. So going into the last couple of holes, Catrina's feeling really good about life. We had a small emergency on hole 14. As you guys well know, Catrina, sometimes when there's downtime, she likes to do Angry Birds, Candy Crush, things like that. So she busted out the crossword puzzle today, like the physical newspaper version of it. And we couldn't remember the name of Frasier's dad on the TV show Frasier. We finally figured that out on the 15th hole, and we went to go write it down, and we couldn't find the crossword puzzle. So we fanned out. People were looking all over hole 14 and 15. We finally found it at the bottom of Catrina's bag, and we got the answer, I guess, on the chat. How many of you guys remember that guy's name? Don't look it up. What was the name of Frasier's dad on Frasier? We'll see if there's anything else more exciting happening the rest of this round.
I'm not sure it gets any
I know
more
what it is.
exciting than.
I 100% know what it is.
All right. Well, she's going to hold back just for a moment.
Everyone's like, we don't care.
Catrina Allen with the birdie. Just, wow. It's incredible what she's doing here today. In fact, last night on the podcast, I said, let's mark the tape as to if we're going to see Eveliina caught or possibly surpassed. Johnny V, our producer, said absolutely not. That will not happen in one round. We're going to play that tape for you later tonight.
Evelina's only even for the round, and Catrina's shooting a -8 with no chance of letting up, seemingly.
Just 3 holes left to play, 16, 17, and 18.
Hole 16 is a 352-foot par 3. This is a tricky hole with the basket finishing off to the right. The ideal shot is a forehand, so I'll be interested to see if these women attack it that way. The other option is a long turnover or a roller like we see from Catrina. She's attempted in the past, and unfortunately she's got the same result as she has before, and she's stumped it.
And Erika follows that up with a great drive, finding herself inside the circle here on hole 16. What a great story here with Erika Stinchcomb, not only maintaining, but also trying to push herself forward and really securing her spot on this lead card, having a great morning here during the second day of the World Championships. Valerie's drive's leaking left.
Valerie, I think you want to have it more towards the left side to give yourself a better attempt at the just at the basket. And I don't know if Erika on the right is going to have as easy of
I think you're thinking about the next hole, possibly.
Am I thinking about hole
that
17?
plays down into the tunnel. Erika, on the other hand, as Eveliina is turning over to the right.
Okay, yeah, okay. When Kat hit the stump, I was confused as to why she's throwing a roller. Now, okay, I totally understand.
I'll refrain from any puns
This is
there.
good. It's okay.
We're going to move down the fairway at
more.
16.
We have 2 more days of this, right? Great approach from Catrina. Fortunately, it will be for par.
As we are pushing local time, it looks to be 1 o'clock, so we're almost exactly at the 3-hour mark for today's round. And as we've talked about Sunset Hills being our host here for the week, we can take a quick look at the scores. Catrina Allen, that 2-stroke advantage right now over Eveliina. Erika maintaining. She is just a few strokes still off the lead, although it's a smaller deficit than what she started the day with relative to the lead.
One of the only competitors to birdie this hole is Emily Beach. She's from Cedar Rapids, Iowa, and she is a lefty. And I said, she's also my Innova teammate, but I said in my course preview, because the basket finishes off to the right and it's a bit of a tricky hole, the ideal shot is a forehand, or in her case, a backhand because she's left-handed. Eveliina has been known to have a powerful forehand, so I'm interested to know why she didn't opt for that. Perhaps she didn't think about it, or she just felt more comfortable with the backhand.
Erika's putting has been so good. So good at her.
Yeah.
I think is the official broadcast
It's okay.
terminology.
You can't help it. She deserves all the accolades. She is having an incredible day on the putting green. Erika turned pro in 2017, first accepting cash. This is her third professional world championships, and her dad introduced her to disc golf at the age of 16. She's in San Diego, where she's originally from. She's played 16 events, 2 wins, cashed 7 times so far this year, and here she stands, the World Championships. Tied for third.
So incredibly impressed with the putting that we've been seeing. I know Erika had maybe just come off that that miss, but overall, the putting that we've seen today and what they had to do yesterday to get to the scores, specifically thinking of Eveliina, her putting, so incredible to have that 6-stroke lead coming into round number 2 earlier today. And the confidence that I see so many of them have. As we can pan over briefly, it looks like maybe Catrina is standing down, as that is the tee on hole number 18, and that looks like Paige Pierce's form as she is teeing on hole 18. So Catrina with the polite move here, sportsman-like move to stand down just for a moment as to not be a distraction to the golfers as they were teeing off on hole 18. And I was just talking about the putting. I'll be quiet.
Catrina, one thing I've noticed in watching her, and something maybe others have noticed as well, she seems to step up to some putts like she's not going to make it. And that was one of those situations where I saw her approach the basket and she did not look confident. And she's been having a good time on the putting green, and I just feel like I'm not seeing that from her. And maybe you can disagree with me or not. I mean, we're all entitled to opinions, but that's something I would like to see from her in the future, is just confidence on the putting green. Hole 17 is a 525-foot par 4 with OB to the left of the fairway and a Mando on the right. This isn't a significantly far par 4, but the Mando and the angle of the approach on the sloping green increase the difficulty of this hole for sure. You can see the Mando coming in on the right. I expect these women to throw overstable fairway drivers and just try to plan it somewhere in the middle off the tee. For hole 17, the Mando is left of the marked tree only, so if you miss it, you proceed to a drop zone with a penalty.
Looks like we will be blessed with some dry weather, hopefully throughout the week. Hannah, I think back to the Ledgestone 6 or 7 weeks ago. This was one of the more treacherous greens that we could find on the course. Anytime a woman would putt and then have to go to the green to retrieve her the disc out of the basket, you'd find them slipping and sliding just about everywhere. So it looks like things have recovered, and I'm calling for nice dry weather throughout the rest of the week.
Hopefully your weather calls are not as
good as my putting calls.
We know who to come for.
That is a good call. That looked to be a pretty good shot. It might not add quite the distance needed, but here's Paige Bjerkes. You always have to pan back to Paige very quickly in order to make sure you catch her shot, as she's known to step up and throw without any warning. And as they move down the fairway to approach that green, we will take a quick look at the scores. Catrina Allen, even with the bogey, still sits in sole possession of first place. She sits at 8 under overall, Eveliina at 7. And now Kristin Tattar, who's been having a very solid round. She, I believe, just has a single bogey on her scorecard, and she's moved herself up 2 positions into 5 under par. And Erika sits at 5 under par, tied with her as well. So Sarah Holcomb, does she still have she still has the clean scorecard, and with just one hole left to play?
Kristin getting off to somewhat of a slower start than her competitors, carding a birdie in after the first 5 holes. Most of her competitors had far more birdies than that by then, but she's kept it very clean and solid, and only 1 bogey, as you said. Sarah Holcomb still without a bogey on hole 18. But
however, one is looming.
Yeah.
Ouch. So if you don't know, and the reason why we actually can see and we know that, when you're using UDisc, they have a great feature called a throw tracker, and that will tell you exactly where every competitor is, even within the hole, and as they're progressing, hopefully down a fairway, but as they're progressing through the hole, it can actually tell you if they're putting for birdie or if they're putting for bogey, if they're on or off the fairway, so on and so forth. And just as I was talking again about Sarah having a clean scorecard, I look over and see that she is on hole 18 and she is putting for bogey. So hopefully that's only as bad as it gets, that she may walk away with a bogey on the final hole.
Hannah Blomroos shooting -6 for the round and moving up 12 spots for the day.
Wow.
Putting herself tied for 5th so far with some competitors with Sarah Holcomb and Paige Pierce, apparently.
And when we talk about your favorites or some of the people that you would expect to see on the lead card or see maybe even at the end of the week, of course, Paige Pierce, Catrina Allen are always going to be in that conversation. Sarah Holcomb, who is also always up there. And then when you add in the European contingency this year, you're talking about Eveliina, who's coming and has been such a fierce competitor. And then you have to talk about Kristin Tattar and Hannah, as they have traveled from overseas. And Hannah making a statement today, putting in that 6 under par and moving up, as you said. Just an incredible effort by her today.
Right. And speaking of statements, I mean, I cannot stress enough how well Erika Stinchcomb is competing at this World Championship so far. Yesterday, she carded the -1, shooting well above her rating. She's rated 912, and her -1 was rated 977. That's 60 points above her rating. So far for the day, she's -4 and sitting tied for 3rd with Kristin Tattar. She's currently beating 4-time world champion Paige Pierce. She's 3 strokes behind Catrina, 2 strokes behind Eveliina, and Erika is not showing really any signs of being uncomfortable. She had those couple bogeys and then played her own game and carded some pars, and now she's back on her birdie trail. And so if we're going to talk about women to look for this tournament, you know, I think Erika's really stating her claim out here that she wants to stay in the top cards for this tournament.
A moment ago, we saw Eveliina challenge the OB slightly on that left side, but she is safe. We'll see how Catrina can finish up, knowing that she just took the bogey off of that short putt, but she turns around and answers with a solid drive here on the tee of 17.
On hole 16, I started to say, I think these women want to finish more left, because I confused the hole 16 with this one. And so as you see, Catrina has finished more towards the left side, and so she has a better opportunity for making the Mando and putting herself in birdie range.
Yeah, playing to that position on that left side, just making, it takes away just how sharp that turn is to get down onto that very well-protected green.
Gives you an opportunity to see the basket too.
Well, what they haven't seen enough is some of our advertisers and supporters that have supported the broadcast all weekend long, along with our super chatters and our new subscribers. So we're going to take a moment, we'll stand down, and we'll be back with you shortly.
SmashBoxxTV would like to thank the following sponsors: the PDGA, Infinite Discs, Discraft, the DGA, Prodigy Discs, the City of Peoria, and all of these other generous sponsors.
After a few brief words or recognition of our sponsors and supporters, looks like we are back here on the green of hole 17. This is Sarah Gilpin. And as they move over to their final hole of the round, round number 2, of course, we are going to catch back up with our lead card. And right now, as we move into the last 2 holes, that's exactly what we should be talking about, is who do we think we will see on this lead card? You mentioned a moment ago that Erika has made a statement that she feels like she belongs here and she's playing as such. Looks like right now she's in a really good position, as Kristen Tatar is still on hole number 18, and Kristen's looking at taking a bogey on hole number 18, and that will drop her to 3 under par. So Erika may have 2 shots clear or more of 4th place.
Kristen carded the bogey on hole 17, but I don't believe they teed off on hole 18 quite yet. Paige Pierce, solo 5th for the round, or solo 5th for the tournament, -4 for the round. Moving up 4 spots on the day. Erika lining up the forehand. The issue with the forehand here is that the sloping green increases the difficulty of it. So not only do you have to hit your line, but you need to have your disc come to rest. So
And what a great catch shot there by our cameraman. Thank you. As Eveliina with an excellent shot into the gap.
that's an unbelievable play from Eveliina. I mean, the sloping green, the Mando, this is not significantly difficult to get the par, but when you talk about getting the birdie, that's a whole different ball game. You really just executed that so well.
Now, this hole 17 does come in as the 7th most difficult. It is averaging 4.24, so nearly a quarter stroke above par. And we have seen just 7 players card the birdie 3 here. And Catrina has set herself up nicely to get a birdie. Looks like a gorgeous day outside here in, I think we are technically in Pekin, Illinois, which is a suburb of Peoria. We're glad you guys could join us here for our FPO lead card coverage. We'll see you again for FPO lead card coverage in just 2 days, as we'll be back here at Sunset Hills. And you're looking at the leaderboard with Catrina Allen out in the lead. Her 7 under for this round puts her at 8 under overall. Just a stellar performance out here today.
Sometimes I think people expect something like the World Championships to be in a renowned city or something. And so Nate Heinold actually commented on that and said, the benefit of using smaller towns in central Illinois is they're 100% all in for whatever he wants to do. You know, that's hard to accomplish in major cities. And then he gave the example of if you were to call Chicago and say, we have 200 disc golfers coming for an event, what can you do for us? Whereas Eureka and Pekin and all of these smaller cities, they allowed us to come out today and design, they allowed us to come out today and compete on a golf course and design a championship level golf course. And they allowed us to shut down Lake Eureka Park,
Yeah.
Eureka Lake Park for their biggest, most popular park for the whole week. So it's really amazing what we can accomplish, and we just hope it sparks the imaginations of other TDs in other areas who might want to host the World Championships someday.
And Valerie, who's struggling to get out and does not have a clean shot, that gets caught up. A few points to follow up on what you're saying, Hannah. Economic impact is certainly a conversation piece that can be had when you do bring this many players to an area. If it's not as large of a city like you mentioned, we make a larger ripple. You know, we might be a small community of really dedicated people, but then when you come into a small community, you can make a larger ripple. Oh,
wow. Incredible putt from Valerie. Oh my word. Is this her 8th Smashbox replay?
It's going to be the Valerie replay. I think Sandy Point Resort is going to maybe have to get renamed here, as Valerie's making her own highlight reels. What an incredible save.
A really incredible competitor. Oh my word. Just going for it and being able to convert is just amazing for her.
See how confident Erika is with this putt. You see the wind maybe doing a little bit of swirling. This is a really unique green. In fact, there's no other green, I would say, at this course that's quite like this. It's got multiple rollaway opportunities. Sit down, and it's protected in I'll say 2 or 3 different sides. This is a great green.
A great bid. I mean, a little high. Maybe the wind had something to do with that, but all in all, just still a great bid from Erika for the par. Erika, who's sitting in solo third at the moment, when she makes her putt for bogey, she will be tied again for third with Kristen Tatar.
Oh, and felt like
great putt for Catrina.
Kat was trying to will that one in. She thought it was maybe a little bit low or left, but basket grabs it and pulls it in. She has kind of a smile on her face. Maybe she thinks she might have gotten away with one that wasn't quite on her mark, but nonetheless, Catrina is going to move over to hole number 18, and she's going to have the outright lead in doing so. Here's 18, 383 feet.
The last hole of the day, 383-foot par 3. These competitors will be throwing a hard flex shot to the circle. They want to land more towards the top of this hill that you see coming into the shot. Making sure to match the angle of the hill is super important. If the disc has too much height, it's going to hyzer all the way down to the bottom of the hill. So the more right you are, the better.
And this hole, you know, I know you referenced it a little bit earlier, but kind of famously ended the Ledgestone Insurance Open this last year, where Paige Pierce had a 1-stroke lead as she was going into this hole. Catrina Allen had laid up right next to the basket. They both threw wide to the right. Catrina Allen had laid up somewhat near the basket and was more than likely going to be tapping in for her 3. So Paige just had to follow suit, lay up, put it right next to the basket as well. She could walk away with the victory, and instead She said it maybe got away from her a little bit, or the wind lifted it, but whatever happened,
The basket got in the way.
yeah, exactly. As she canned a putt from more than 50 feet. And when she walked to the basket, I was just watching the replay on my footage the other day, she put up her fist with such excitement and authority. She was really trying to make a statement that, you know, she was here, her putt is on, she's ready to play. And now here we are back at Sunset. That is the exact same hole. Hole 18 here will be the hole where our champion is crowned in a few days. So just start thinking about what that means for you, what that means for our players, our spectators, for Sunset Hills and the PDGA. I'm very excited to see how this is going to finish out. And Eveliina has the honors.
Eveliina needs that to go a little bit right, and it does not. So like I said, it's going to end up at the bottom of the hill. She's going to have to go up and down for par. Seems like the wind is coming in, so she might have opted to throw something a little bit more stable, thinking the headwind might turn it over. That's a perfect shot from Catrina, giving herself, what a great opportunity for birdie. Catrina just does not seem like she's at the World Championships. She's just off the tee, and all of her approach shots, a little shaky with her putting today, but much better than yesterday. She's 76% from circle one. Yesterday, she was only 40% from circle one. So she's definitely cleaned that up, and we see the difference in scoring. I mean, -8 for the day with an opportunity to be -9, but I just feel like Catrina's body language, her attitude, her shots off the tee have all just been very composed. Erika playing it nice and straight, but fortunately hyzers out a bit too early, and she'll join Eveliina at the bottom of the hill.
We'll be back in just a moment.
I can throw this disc around the world in one shot.
Never play disc golf too far into the jungle. There may be cheetahs.
Someone on your card can't recall if they threw a 6 or a 7. It was probably an 8.
See? Stay getting birdies, my friends.
Welcome back, everyone. Terry Miller alongside Hannah Macbeth, and we are so glad that you have joined us here today as we are just watching the final hole of round number 2. And I would say the number one thing that we're looking at is if Erika can get up and down and walk away with at least a par, or maybe Val will throw another one in here. Nope. A great approach shot. If Erika can match that and walk away with a par, Erika will remain on the lead card for tomorrow. If she doesn't, and if she were to, we'll say, take a bogey, that would push 4-time world champion Paige Pierce onto the lead card to join them. And
oh, wow. Great bid from Eveliina.
Eveliina will likely then remain at her 8 under. So the lead, the 6-stroke lead she had on the group has now become the deficit, as we've talked about. It will be a question of whether it's 1 or 2 strokes deficit.
Still a bit of a tester putt for Erika, but nothing we haven't seen her make today.
Kristin Tattar sits at 4 under, as does Erika. However, again, if Erika were to take the bogey, Paige would be tied with her, but Paige, having the better round, would move on to the lead card. So that is what we're seeing here. And Catrina Allen, barring a rollaway of any kind, will likely be coming into the clubhouse with either a 1 or 2-stroke lead going into round number 3. And solid putt. Catrina Allen with a great performance out here today, as Catrina takes her cards 9 under for the round, pushing her to 10 under overall, and she erases a 6-stroke deficit to give her a 2-stroke advantage. Incredible performance by Catrina Allen today.
For anybody who likes cleanliness and order, Catrina Allen's score looks really satisfying.
And Erika, with that putt, will fall to the chase card. Unfortunately, such a solid performance. However, finishing bogey, and that will push her down to the 2nd card, which means we will see our 4-time world champ, Paige Pierce, join the card tomorrow. Oh, I've got all sorts of mixed emotions going on right now.
Paige came back and fought and shot -4, so she absolutely deserves to be on the lead card. But I think some of us were excited about Erika. It's always exciting when you see new people, but tomorrow we have Catrina and Eveliina again. Kristin Tattar making her way up after an even round carded yesterday and then a -4 today. And now we have Paige Pierce. The chase card tomorrow is super young, seemingly. Erika Stinchcomb, Henna Blomroos, Sarah Hokum, Callie McMorran. Callie and Henna are not, they're very young women.
Yes.
I had the pleasure of staying with Callie in Nashville for the Music City Open, and she is super dedicated, really awesome family base behind her. And again, completely new bag.
Yeah.
Completely new bag. Unbelievable. This shows up to the Worlds after throwing Innova for 3 weeks, maybe less than that. But again, taking it back to the lead card, Catrina Allen coming out with a dominating performance today, a -9, the hot round of the day. I'm anxious to see what that's rated. The 2nd closest highest round was Henna at -6.
Yeah, and so I'll read off a few of those, as you just mentioned. Catrina, the hot round at 9, Henna at 6. Ellen Widboom, who had a great start. She didn't finish quite as strong as she had started, but she still finishes with a 5 under. She was 5 under through the first 6 holes, and then she just maintained from there. Kristin Tattar, a slower start, as you had mentioned, but then turned things up a little bit as the round went on. She shot 4 under for the round, as did Paige Pierce, Sarah Hokum, and Callie McMorran, as you just mentioned. Excuse me. Lisa Fakis had a 3 under. Madison Walker with a really tough start, opening with a double bogey 6, but then still finished with 3 under for the round. And Erika, man, she had such a great start and was moving along so well, and unfortunately came up just a bit short. She shoots 2 under. She had 8 birdies on the card today. So she definitely was going out there and
Just
making some shots happen, but unfortunately just relinquished a few of them back to the course. So she will push down a few of the cards. I think we're going to see her, as we just mentioned, on the chase card tomorrow. So she's just losing out due to the tie and having the difference being the previous round. Being this round, I should say. I'm sorry, I'm looking at UDisc, which didn't have them quite sorted as I expected.
So Catrina is our leader at the end of the 2nd day, and she is no stranger to being the leader in disc golf events. She has 157 career wins out of 297 events. There's 7 majors, 18 NTs, 59 A-tiers, and perhaps if she can maintain this lead, another world championship title. She's not a defending world champion, but she's a returning world champion for sure.
She did. An interesting side note that Catrina Allen, when she did win her world championships, that was in 2014 out in Portland. Catrina Allen was actually penalized at one point during that world championships because she had inadvertently gone to the wrong course. So she had traveled to the wrong course. When she arrived there, that's when she had realized that she was not at the correct course, and she had to actually drive to another course that was 45 minutes away, and she arrived there late and was assessed some penalty strokes. She overcame that and then went on to still become world champion for her first time in 2014. So, you know, you want to talk about adversity, you want to talk about, you know, challenges, overcoming, being mentally strong, all of those types of things we've seen Catrina Allen exude throughout her professional career. And today she came out with some real grit and determination and absolutely just blew past the entire field shooting that 9 under today. Just an incredibly solid performance by Catrina Allen.
It is exciting, though, to see the European countries represented on the lead and chase card. I mean, Eveliina, like we said earlier in the coverage, has been kind of a favorite, I think, of the Americans since she came on the scene, because she is so young and she has been winning since she was, I believe, 14. She went pro and started winning pro events. And, you know, she took that one sweet win away from Catrina that one time and just sparked a lot of content. And Kristin Tattar, again, no stranger to the leader card either, competes a lot more in Europe, but always comes out to the U.S. for this stretch with her partner Silver. And so we're excited to have them here. And I'm excited to see what these ladies are going to do tomorrow, because we go back into the woods tomorrow. It's a whole different course. We have to recall Catrina and Eveliina have already put in some really good rounds over at Northwood Blues. Kristin shot even, Paige Pierce shooting over par. So it's gonna be interesting, a mental battle for sure tomorrow.
Well, we'll also check in. Of course, there's a lot of conversation around our defending champion, that being Paige Beer, because she's got a lot on her plate right now. She's been pretty open about talking about how she's trying to separate her business or career path in terms of being a professional disc golfer, along with her personal life. But she'll still tell you, you know, she's prepping to get married later on in the year, in October actually, to another fellow pro who's on tour in Grady Shue. And she's put that entire life on hold, her personal life, to concentrate on this week to try and defend the title. But
it's not easy. It is a lot of it's a lot of intentionality, and it's different. So,
well, she today comes in with a +1. She shot even yesterday, and then she comes in with the +1 and actually drops 8 positions. She's in a tie for 13th right now. So if she wants to make a legitimate run at defending that title, she's got 2 rounds down with 3 left to go. But she's going to need to start making her move, and that's going to have to start tomorrow for sure. And it looks like we're getting Catrina Allen along with Steve Hill. I see them lining up. I also see a floppy hat and some hair getting into the camera position. So we'll hopefully have them joining us in just a few moments. And we'll get a little bit of a post-round wrap-up that's taking place just outside of us. Here we go. Steve and Catrina.
All right, we're here with Catrina Allen. Catrina, 9 under par, hot round, 10 under par overall. Were you expecting to be able to make this big of a move coming in today at Sunset?
No, because I kind of feel like it's a place where you just birdie or par. But I think it was windier than it's been here the last couple tournaments, you know, a couple ledge stones that I played here. And it was a different wind. A lot of the holes I stepped up to, I even changed discs because of the wind. So maybe that had a factor.
Now, you're leading in pretty much every metric, park shots, fairway hits, circle 1, circle 2, except for circle 1 putting. Where is your confidence level right now on the putting green?
I always use the excuse that if you have more putts, you have a chance to miss more putts. So that's my excuse. No, that's the thing. I'm not like, oh, nervous or not confident. It's just not going in. I feel like I'm just hitting the cage or hitting the top of the basket. But I did finish with 2 good putts. Got kind of windy on us at 17 in that little, with the basket on the side of a hill, so that was a good one. And same on 18 because also the tee shot was really hard. So to execute that tee shot and make that putt to finish, that felt good.
And going back to Northwood tomorrow, is there anything in particular you're looking to adjust from round 1 yesterday?
No. I feel like I have a good game plan. I just didn't execute some up shots. I felt like I was hitting the fairway pretty well. And again, just missed like 3 or 4 putts. Sorry, I thought I was going to sneeze.
That's okay.
I held it.
And we know yesterday was your birthday.
Yep.
Happy belated birthday.
Thank you.
Did that maybe help the vibes coming in today at all?
Maybe. Yeah, I had a great dinner with, I don't know, we had a table of 15, and the restaurant we went to, there was no one there, so we joked that we bought out the restaurant. So it was a, it was a good night of laughs and not focusing on disc golf and the missed putts or the missed upshots. So yeah, it was a great night and a great day.
That's Catrina Allen, current leader here at Pro Worlds after 2 rounds, and we will send it back to you guys in the studio.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, of course. And again, thank you to Steve Hill along with Catrina Allen giving us some of her thoughts, not only into maybe what happened last night and how she was prepping for it today mentally, celebrating her birthday, but then also really interesting to hear her say that for someone as experienced and veteran as she is, that she made a few changes right here this morning on the tee based on her win reads and, of course, professional and exactly what she needed to do. But maybe we underplayed the win throughout the day even.
Oh, I think so, for sure. It's hard for us to know from the booth.
Yeah,
We're
that's
sitting
quite
inside,
possible.
so we can't see. And they don't really have flags or markers or people telling us, the conditions out on the field. So it's easy to do. But, that's a lot of blue on her scorecard. And like I said before, if you're into organization and stuff, it's like it just looks so nice. But I'm sure she would rather have all the bogeys gone, but it's still aesthetically pleasing, I guess.
Well, we're going to start to close things out. Of course, we want to thank all of you guys for joining us here today. It's been an incredible day and an incredible experience here for our second round of the World Championships. Watching Catrina Allen making this charge and even surpassing Eveliina, who had such a great opening round yesterday. But there's still so many more stories that are to be told. Yeah. Knowing that a Paige Bjerkaas, our defending champ, has struggled a little, but yet Paige Pierce pushing herself forward. And then Erika Stinchcomb, just a story in herself of how well she performed out there today. We'll see if Valerie can maybe go back out to the woods tomorrow and maybe find a little bit more of her comfort level there where she struggled today kind of unexpectedly.
And that's the key there, Terry. Tomorrow is the woods. And so Catrina has, 2-stroke lead on the field, and it's spreading out a little bit after day 2, but that's one hole. That par 5, I think it's hole 13 or 14 out there, is no joke. And I've seen a lot of 7s on that hole, and I've seen a lot of birdies. So, the woods is a different story. I'm so excited for tomorrow. I hope all 3,000 of you that tuned in today tune in again tomorrow, 10 a.m.
Or the next day.
Here. Or the next day. Oh,
yep,
yeah.
we hope that you can tune in. I don't know who you'll be talking to, but if you tune in tomorrow afternoon, you'll actually be seeing the MPO. We'll be back here with the FPO. So on that, we're going to cut loose here. I think I'm going to take you out. You're going to watch some Macbeth Feller play some disc golf as well, as he's performed quite well yesterday. We're going to give you some highlights of what we've seen today. But first, I have to thank our great, tremendous camera crew that was out there, Ryan Pilcher, along with Joey Tamale and Gary to the all hustling around to give us those shots. Johnny V in the studio back in Milwaukee, pressing usually all of the right buttons. We appreciate that. UDisc Live and all of the other partners we have, along with Infinite Disc, our presenting sponsor here at the World Championships.
I don't know what we would do without UDisc. This is what we do every time.
This is what we do.
UDisc.
Exactly. Thanks to Matt, Josh, Monica, Daniel, all those guys just out there doing such a tremendous job. And when you don't have enough of that, then you have to get yourself True Disc as well. So for Hannah Macbeth and Terry Miller, the disc golf guy, thank you guys for joining us. We look forward to seeing you tomorrow afternoon for the MPO round, and then again on Friday for the FPO in the morning. Here's some highlights, and we'll see you tomorrow when you step inside the Smash Box.